The night in Musutafu was loud. Sirens ran down the street like a warning song. Neon signs blinked above the sidewalks. People pushed into alleyways and behind cars as a villain crashed through a storefront. Deku was there, but only as a shadow on a rooftop. He was still a student. He was not supposed to be here. But he could not look away. A pro hero in a blue suit shot forward and kicked the villain back into the road. Another hero threw up a wall of concrete to block falling glass. The villain laughed anyway. He had metal claws for fingers and a grin that looked proud of the chaos. "Too slow," the villain shouted. "Too careful." The hero team tried to keep the fight tight. Keep it clean. Keep it away from people. Then the sky tore open. It was not lightning. It was not a quirk flash. It was like someone grabbed the air with two hands and ripped it. A long, thin crack appeared above the street. Bright white on the inside, black around the edges. Wind pulled toward it, like the world was breathing in. Everyone looked up. A body fell out. A red and black figure tumbled end over end, hit the side of a building, bounced off a billboard, and slammed into the pavement with a sound like a dropped refrigerator. Deku's heart jumped into his throat. The figure did not move for a second. Then he sat up. He rubbed his head like he had bumped it on a low doorway. He looked around at the screaming people, the heroes, the villain, and the broken street. He raised one hand and waved. "Hi," the masked stranger called out, cheerful like this was a school event. "Which one of you ordered the deluxe surprise cameo?" The villain blinked. Even the villain looked confused. The stranger stood. He was average height, lean, dressed in a tight suit that was mostly red with black patches. Two sword handles crossed on his back. Pouches and straps hugged his waist. His mask had big white eye shapes, like a cartoon come to life. He stretched his arms. His joints popped loudly. Then he looked right at Deku's rooftop, like he could see him through the dark, and gave a little thumbs up. Deku froze. No one else looked at the roof. The stranger turned back to the street, clapped his hands once, and jogged toward the villain fight as if he belonged there. "Hey!" a pro hero shouted. "Civilian! Back away!" "Civilian?" the stranger repeated, offended. "I'm wearing a full-body tactical outfit. This is not civilian behavior." He reached into a pouch and flicked something small into the air. A smoke pellet popped. Gray smoke spread fast. The villain coughed and waved claws. "What is this?" The stranger slid through the smoke low to the ground, came up behind the villain, and swung a sword. The blade sparked off metal claws. The villain swiped back. The stranger ducked, rolled, and fired a compact pistol from his other hand. 3 shots hit the villain's shoulder and chest. The villain staggered, then laughed. "Guns?" the villain said. "That's cute." He slammed his clawed hand down. The road cracked. A shockwave threw the stranger backward. He hit a car. The car alarm screamed. The stranger fell to the ground. Deku held his breath. The stranger popped back up. "Okay," he said, brushing dust off his suit. "So you're in the doesn't care about bullets club." A pro hero tried to grab him from behind. "Stop interfering." The stranger spun and threw his hands up. "Interfering? I'm assisting. I'm like freelance assistants." The villain lunged. The hero team moved to intercept. The stranger stepped right into the path of the claws anyway, like he wanted the hit. The claws punched straight through his stomach. Deku's stomach dropped. The stranger looked down at the claws inside him, then looked back up at the villain. "Rude," he said, calm as a teacher. "You don't even know my name." Then he grabbed the villain's wrist with both hands and yanked his arm sideways, forcing the claws to tear out. Blood splashed. The stranger winced, but only for a second. The hole in his suit pulled together. The skin under it pulled together too, right in front of everyone. The pro heroes stared. The villain stared. Deku's eyes went wide. His brain started racing. Healing? Regeneration? Some kind of body quirk? But no one had ever healed like that. Not that fast. Not in the open street while smiling. A new voice cut through the noise. "Everyone, get back!" Shota Aizawa landed on a streetlight pole like a tired cat. His scarf flowed behind him. His eyes were half-lidded, but sharp. He looked down at the stranger first, not the villain. Because the villain made sense. This did not. Aizawa's gaze locked on the stranger's mask. The stranger stopped moving, like he felt it. "Ooh," the stranger said, delighted. "Scary teacher energy. I respect that." Bakugo blasted down from above, smoke around his hands. "Who is this clown?" "Hey," the stranger snapped, offended again. "I am a professional clown. There's a difference." Bakugo raised his palms. "I'll blow you up too if you're in the way." The stranger leaned forward like he was greeting a fan. "Do it. I dare you. I double dare you." Deku watched from the rooftop, shaking. This man was insane. The villain saw an opening in the confusion and tried to run. A pro-hero chased him. But Aizawa's attention stayed on the stranger. "Name," Aizawa said. The stranger pointed to himself. "You want my name?" "Okay, He looked around like he was searching the sky for ideas. "Red Guy," he said. "Captain Red Guy." Aizawa didn't blink. The stranger sighed. "Fine. I'm totally not suspicious, new hero." Bakugo snarled. "I hate him." Aizawa's scarf snapped forward like a living rope. It wrapped the stranger's arms and yanked him off balance. The stranger didn't fight it much. He tumbled once, then stood again. Bound. "So," he said, still cheerful, "do you have a hero license booth? Because I would like to apply." Aizawa stared. Behind the scenes, far away, in a room that smelled like old medicine and cold metal, another man listened to the reports coming in. All for One sat in the dark like he owned it. Dr. Garaki stood beside him, eyes bright with interest. "A new body," Garaki whispered. "A new kind of healing." All for One tilted his head, as if tasting the idea. "Bring him," All for One said softly. Aizawa moved fast once the street was safe. Not loud fast, not dramatic fast, controlled fast. He had the stranger in a capture hold, scarf tight, hands cuffed with reinforced restraints. Pro-heroes cleared civilians and boxed the area off. Bakugo hovered close, arms crossed, glaring like he wanted to explode someone just to feel normal again. Deku followed at a distance once he was allowed down from the roof. He stayed quiet. He watched everything. The stranger did not stop talking. "So you're a teacher," the stranger said to Aizawa as they walked. "Respect. Teachers are basically heroes without capes." Aizawa didn't answer. "And you," the stranger said to Bakugo, "are the angry one. Every team has one. You're like a tiny explosion gremlin." Bakugo sparked. "Say that again." "Tiny explosion gremlin," the stranger repeated, louder. "With feelings." Bakugo jerked forward. Aizawa's scarf snapped tighter, warning both of them. They reached UA before the sun came up. The campus was quiet. The buildings looked calm from the outside, like nothing bad could happen there. Inside, the security was real. They brought the stranger into a reinforced room with thick walls and a wide glass window. Cameras sat in every corner. A table and 2 chairs waited in the middle. The stranger looked around and nodded like he was impressed. "Nice," he said. "Very secret government facility. 10 out of 10. Aizawa pushed him into a chair and anchored the restraints to the floor. The stranger leaned back, as comfortable as if he was in a cafe. "So," he said, "when do I get my dorm room? I call top bunk." Aizawa finally spoke again. "You're not a student." "Not with that attitude," the stranger replied. The door opened. Principal Nezu walked in, small and smiling. Behind him came Recovery Girl and a tall man in a suit with a badge that screamed official. Deku stood near the back, invited as a witness because he had seen the first moment. All Might entered last. In his hero form, he filled the doorway. Even quiet, he felt like hope. The stranger's mask tilted up. "Oh no," he whispered. All Might's brows lifted. "Oh?" The stranger held up his restrained hands like a surrender sign. "It's you. It's really you." All Might took one step closer, careful. "Do I know you?" "No," the stranger said quickly. "But I know you. You're like the whole reason people believe in heroes." All Might's face softened, but his eyes stayed alert. "You've heard of me." "Everyone's heard of you," the stranger said. "Even where I come from." The official in the suit cleared his throat. "Let's start with basics. Name. Origin. Quirk." The stranger stared at him for 2 seconds, then said, "I'm Captain Red Guy from Canada." Deku heard Recovery Girl make a small sound, like a tired sigh. The official's pen paused. "Canada. Best country," the stranger said. "Great maple syrup. Strong opinions about hockey." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "Stop!" The stranger held up his hands again, still cuffed. "I'm trying. It's a stress response." Nezu hopped onto the table, sitting like a polite host. "We aren't here to punish you," Nezu said. "We're here to understand you." The stranger leaned forward. "Great. I love being understood." Nezu's smile stayed gentle. "Tell us the truth, just a few simple parts." The stranger went quiet for the first time. Not fully quiet, but quieter. He looked at All Might again, then at Deku, then back to Aizawa's tired eyes. "Okay," he said. "Truth parts. Short version." He held up one finger. "I used to be normal," he said. Second finger. "Then I got sick. Like, really sick." Third finger. "Then I let bad people do an experiment on me because I didn't want to die." Fourth finger. "Now, my body doesn't know how to stop healing." Fifth finger. "And I ended up here by accident. I did not buy a ticket." The official's pen scratched fast. All Might spoke softly. "You were experimented on." The stranger shrugged like it didn't matter. "Yep, it sucked." Recovery Girl leaned forward, eyes sharp. "You're healing. That wasn't a simple quirk. I've seen quirks like regeneration. This was different." The stranger tapped his chest. "Different is my brand." Aizawa's gaze stayed fixed. "Remove the mask." The stranger's whole body stiffened. He didn't laugh. He didn't joke. "No," he said. The room chilled. Bakugo, who had been forced to wait outside the glass, pressed his face closer, like he wanted to see the moment someone snapped. All Might didn't push. Not yet. "Why not?" The stranger's voice went lighter again, but it sounded forced. "Because it's part of my charm." Aizawa didn't accept that. "That's not an answer." The official leaned in. "If you want to stay in this country, you will cooperate." The stranger looked at the official and smiled under the mask, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Hey," he said. "Funny thing. I don't belong to any country right now." Nezu's tail flicked once. "Let's approach this another way," he said. "We can test your limits without hurting you." The stranger perked up. "Oh, cool. Like a training arc." Aizawa didn't react. They started with simple scans. Machines checked his heartbeat, his blood pressure, his temperature. Everything looked wrong and normal at the same time. Recovery Girl pricked his finger for blood. The stranger watched her. "If you sell that on the dark web, I want royalties." Recovery Girl ignored him. The blood flowed. Then, right in front of them, the tiny wound closed almost instantly. The blood stopped. Recovery Girl frowned. "Too fast." The official asked, "Do you have a quirk registration?" The stranger laughed once. "Nope." "Any records?" The official pressed. Nope, the stranger repeated. I'm like a ghost, but with more swords. Nezu glanced at Aizawa. Try your quirk, Nezu said gently. Just for a moment. Aizawa stepped forward, eyes glowing red. His quirk activated. The stranger blinked. Nothing else changed. The stranger tilted his head. Are you doing the scary eye thing right now? Aizawa's stare sharpened. You should feel something. The stranger shrugged. I feel judged. That counts. Right? Aizawa turned his gaze away. His eyes stayed red for a second longer, then faded. His face didn't move, but Deku saw it. Aizawa had just learned something he didn't like. That healing, Aizawa said, doesn't turn off. The official's shoulders tightened. So it isn't a quirk. Nezu's smile stayed, but it got smaller. Or it isn't treated like one, he corrected. All Might looked down at the stranger. That means we can't handle you with normal quirk rules, he said. The stranger raised his cuffed hands again. Good news. I have a totally different set of problems. Deku finally stepped forward, unable to stop himself. He spoke carefully. When you fell, Deku said, you looked up at me. The stranger's mask turned toward him instantly. Oh, hey, green hair kid. Nice notebook. Deku's face warmed. How did you see that? The stranger tapped the side of his mask. I have very advanced eyeballs. Deku frowned, thinking. You also knew All Might. I know of him, the stranger corrected quickly. Big difference. All Might's voice softened again. Young man, he said. What should we call you? The stranger paused. He could have given a joke. He could have given a fake name. Instead, he gave them a word like he was testing it. Deadpool, he said. The official's pen stopped. Deadpool. The stranger nodded once. Yeah, I know. It sounds like a villain brand. But trust me, the marketing team was terrible. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. Is that your real name? Deadpool leaned back in the chair. No. Nezu's smile returned, small but real. Thank you for an honest answer, he said. Deadpool looked pleased. You're welcome. The official in the suit stood straighter. Deadpool, until we determine your threat level, you will remain under supervision. Deadpool raised a hand. Cool. Supervision. Love it. The official continued. You will not leave this campus without permission. Deadpool nodded. Great. I'll just use the door. Aizawa said. No weapons. Deadpool's eyes widened behind the mask. That's like telling a fish, no water. All Might stepped closer, voice firm but kind. If you cooperate, we will help you, he said. We will find out how you came here. We will keep you safe. Deadpool stared at him. Deku watched Deadpool's shoulders lift and fall once, like a quiet breath he didn't want anyone to notice. Then Deadpool joked again, too fast. Okay, Deadpool said, but I have one condition. Aizawa didn't blink. No, Deadpool ignored that. I want to apply for a hero license. The room went still. Recovery Girl stared like she thought she misheard. The official's face twitched. All Might blinked. A hero license? Deadpool nodded hard. Yes. I want the little card. I want the legal approval. I want the outfit upgrade. I want to be officially allowed to punch bad guys. Aizawa said, flat. You just used guns in the street. Deadpool raised a finger. Technical note. I used guns at a villain, not at the street. Nezu leaned forward, curious. Why do you want that? Deadpool shrugged. Because where I come from, people like me don't get to be heroes, he said, like it was no big deal. They get to be problems. All Might's expression turned serious. The official spoke coldly. This is not negotiable. Deadpool sighed. Fine, not a condition. A dream. Aizawa turned toward the door. We're done for now. Deadpool called after him. Wait, do you at least have paperwork? I love paperwork. Aizawa paused just long enough to make Deadpool think he might say yes. Then Aizawa walked out without answering. Deku stayed behind a moment, looking at Deadpool through the glass. Deadpool noticed and waved again, smaller this time. Deku waved back, unsure why he did it. Outside the room, Nezu spoke quietly to All Might and Aizawa. We keep him here, Nezu said, not because we trust him, because if we push him away, someone else will take him. The official from the commission stepped closer, voice low. Or we take him first. Aizawa's eyes hardened. He's not a weapon. The official gave a thin smile. Everything is a weapon if it can't be killed. All Might's fists tightened at his sides. And far away, in a hidden lab filled with humming machines, Dr. Garaki replayed the street footage again and again. He paused on the moment the wound closed. He smiled like a child seeing a new toy. The first major strike came when the city was awake. It was midday, bright and busy. The kind of day where people felt safe because heroes were everywhere. Deku was with his class for a supervised training outing near a large public plaza. Pros were present. Cameras were present. Civilians watched from behind barriers. It was controlled. It was supposed to stay that way. Deadpool wasn't supposed to be there, but he was. He stood at the edge of the hero line wearing a borrowed UA visitor jacket thrown over his suit, like someone tried to make him normal. His hands were empty. Because Aizawa had taken his swords and guns and locked them away, Deadpool still looked like a problem that refused to sit down. Aizawa stood nearby, arms crossed, scarf hanging loose, eyes half-lidded. Deadpool leaned toward him. So, he whispered, field trip. Do we get snacks? Do we get matching hats? Aizawa said, stay quiet. Deadpool nodded very seriously. Understood. Silent mode activated. 3 seconds passed. Deadpool whispered again. Is silent mode supposed to feel itchy? Aizawa didn't answer. Deku kept his eyes forward, but his ears heard everything. All Might stood farther ahead with other pros. Endeavor was there too, flames rolling off his shoulders in steady waves. Hawks perched on a light pole like he was relaxed, but his eyes tracked every angle. The plaza was full of people. Then the air changed. It was small at first, a pressure in the chest, a hush in the crowd. Deku's danger sense prickled. He felt it like a warning bell inside his bones. Aizawa's head lifted, Hawk's wings tensed, Endeavor's flames flared. In the middle of the plaza, the ground split open. Not like an earthquake, like a door. Black mist poured out, thick and heavy, and it rolled across the tiles like living smoke. People screamed. A pro hero shouted for evacuation. And then the monster stepped out. Nomu. Not the slow kind, not the sloppy kind. These were leaner, sharper, built like someone had learned from past mistakes. One of them had extra arms and long fingers meant for grabbing. Another had thick plates over its chest like armor. A third one moved too smoothly, like it had real thought behind its eyes. Deku's stomach sank. They're here, he whispered. Deadpool leaned forward, excited. Okay, that's new. Aizawa snapped, back. Deadpool obeyed for once, only because the crowd was in danger, and he saw it. The Nomu didn't charge the heroes at random. They moved as a unit. They aimed straight for Deadpool. Deku noticed at the same time the pros did. They're targeting him, Deku said. All Might's jaw tightened. Endeavor stepped forward like a wall of heat. Not happening. The first Nomu launched itself across the plaza. Endeavor met it with a blast of fire that should have cooked a normal body. The Nomu didn't burn the way it should have. It still screamed. It still took damage. But it pushed through, arms reaching for the red and black mask. Hawks shot feathers like knives, slicing tendons, cutting joints, slowing it down. Aizawa ran in, scarf snapping out, wrapping the Nomu's arms. His eyes glowed red. The Nomu's movement slowed. It staggered. But the other Nomu came from the side and slammed Aizawa with a shoulder hit that sent him sliding across the tiles. Deku's feet moved before he thought. He dashed in, using one for all to close distance fast. He kicked the second Nomu away from Aizawa, then grabbed Aizawa's scarf to yank him back into cover. Aizawa's eyes stayed open, but his breath was sharp. "Don't get reckless," he rasped. Deku nodded, heart pounding. Deadpool stepped forward, hands still empty. "Okay," Deadpool said, voice suddenly calmer. "So you guys are not fans. Got it." The third Nomu lunged at him. Deadpool moved like a trained fighter, even without weapons. He ducked under a swing, rolled behind the Nomu, and used its own momentum to throw it off balance. He did it clean, like he had practiced 1,000 times. Then the Nomu's extra arm snapped backward in a way a human arm couldn't. It caught Deadpool by the throat. It lifted him off the ground. Deadpool kicked and punched, but the grip was crushing. The Nomu's other hand opened, revealing a device strapped to its wrist. Metal clamps, thick cables, something built to lock around a body. A capture tool, not a kill tool. Deku's eyes widened. "They're trying to take him alive," Endeavor roared and blasted fire at the Nomu holding Deadpool. The Nomu's skin bubbled. It staggered, but it still didn't drop him. Deadpool's mask turned toward Endeavor, and even through the mask, Deku could feel Deadpool's mood. Deadpool was annoyed. "Hey!" Deadpool shouted, voice strained. "I appreciate the help, Flamebeard, but can you not barbecue my jacket?" Endeavor's eyes burned. "Stop talking and fight." Deadpool laughed once, then did something that made Deku flinch. Deadpool grabbed the Nomu's wrist with both hands and yanked the grip tighter on his own throat, forcing the Nomu's arm into a better position for leverage. He used the pain like it was a handle. Then he slammed his head forward. Hard. The Nomu's face cracked. Deadpool dropped, landed on his feet, and snatched the wrist device mid-fall. He ripped it off and threw it like a rock. It clanged across the tiles. Hawk's feathers pinned it down instantly, like Hawks did not want it near anyone. Deadpool rubbed his throat. "Okay," he said, coughing. "That was rude." The first Nomu, burnt and sliced but still moving, charged again. This time it didn't aim for Deadpool's arms or legs. It aimed for his head. It slammed him into the ground, then punched him through a stone bench. The bench exploded. Deadpool didn't scream. He grunted, rolled, and tried to stand. The Nomu punched him again. And again. Each hit sounded like a car door slamming. Deku's fists clenched. He wanted to jump in, but he knew one wrong move could get civilians killed. Aizawa forced himself back up, eyes red again, locking onto the Nomu. The Nomu slowed. Deadpool used the opening. He grabbed a broken piece of bench, a thick stone chunk, and slammed it into the Nomu's knee. The joint buckled. Then Deadpool jumped onto its back, wrapped his arm around its neck, and pulled hard. It wasn't a clean choke. The Nomu didn't need air the way a human did, but the force still mattered. Deadpool kept pulling like he could squeeze the whole monster into quitting. "Stop!" Aizawa barked. "It won't." Deadpool answered without looking back. "I know, I'm buying time." Deku realized it then. Deadpool was not trying to win by strength. He was trying to hold the monster in place so the pros could finish it. Endeavor stepped in, heat rising like a storm. He focused a narrow flame blast, hotter and tighter than before, and aimed for the Nomu's exposed weak points that Hawks had cut open. The Nomu shrieked. Its body finally gave. It fell forward, smashing into the tiles, twitching. Deadpool rode it down, rolling off at the last second. He landed on his feet again. His suit was torn, his jacket was gone. His body was bruised and bleeding in places. Then his wounds started closing. Deku watched, shocked all over again. It was fast. Too fast. Aizawa's stare snapped to Deadpool for one hard second. Deadpool was healing, even while Aizawa's quirk was active. Aizawa's throat tightened. This was proof. This wasn't like a normal quirk at all. More mist billowed from the door in the plaza. A shadow moved inside it, but didn't come out. A presence, like someone watching through a crack. Hawk's eyes narrowed. "We're being tested," he said under his breath. Endeavor looked at the mist. "Then show yourself." No answer. Instead, the remaining Nomu changed tactics. One of them grabbed a civilian by the shirt and held them up like bait. Deku's blood went cold. The Nomu's head turned toward Deadpool. It held the civilian out. A message without words. "Come closer." Deadpool froze. For one moment, there were no jokes. He took a step forward. Aizawa shouted, "Don't!" Deadpool didn't listen. He walked toward the Nomu slowly, palms open. "Okay," he said, voice steady. "You want me? You got me." "Put the kid down." The Nomu's fingers tightened around the civilian's shirt. The civilian sobbed. Deadpool kept walking. Deku moved too, ready to strike, but Aizawa's scarf snapped around Deku's waist and yanked him back. "Trust the pros," Aizawa hissed, "and trust me." Aizawa's eyes locked on the Nomu's face. Hawk's feathers moved into position behind it, silent and sharp. Endeavor gathered heat, waiting for the clean moment. Deadpool got close enough that the Nomu could reach him. The Nomu lunged, dropping the civilian at the same time like it wanted chaos. Deadpool jumped forward, not away. He caught the falling civilian with one arm, twisting his body so his back took the Nomu's full grab. The Nomu's fingers dug into Deadpool's shoulder. They crushed bone. Deadpool flinched, then he shoved the civilian toward safety. "Run!" he shouted. The civilian ran. Hawk's feathers struck, pinning the Nomu's arms to the ground tiles. Aizawa's quirk held the Nomu's movement down. Endeavor slammed a blast of fire into the Nomu's chest, right where Hawks had opened it. The Nomu went still. Deadpool dropped to one knee, holding his shoulder. His breathing was heavy. Then the shoulder popped back into place, skin sealed. He stood up again. He looked at Aizawa, then at Deku, then at the pro heroes, and he gave a small shrug like he hated that he cared. "See?" he said. "I can do the hero thing. I just do it loud." The mist door began to close, like the villains had seen enough, like they got what they came for. But as it shrank, something small flew out of it and clattered across the tiles near the broken bench. A thin black capsule. Hawk spotted it instantly. He flicked a feather. It pinned the capsule to the ground before anyone could touch it. Endeavor stepped closer, heat building. "What is that?" Deku stared, alarm rising again. Deadpool's mask tilted. "That," he said quietly, "is a science problem." Aizawa moved like a shadow, pulling out a containment bag from his belt. But the capsule cracked open on its own. Not fully. Just enough. A drop of liquid slid out and sizzled on the tiles. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "Back." They all stepped away. The liquid bubbled like it was alive. Then it dried up. Nothing exploded. Nothing screamed. But the feeling in the air changed again, like the villains had left a warning. Aizawa looked at Deadpool, eyes tired but sharp. "This isn't random," he said. Deadpool's voice lost the jokes for a second. "Yeah," he said. "They're hunting me." Endeavor stared into the last curl of fading mist. "Then we hunt them back." Deku looked at Deadpool's torn suit and fast-healing wounds and felt a new kind of fear. Not fear of Deadpool. Fear of what would happen if the wrong person figured out how his body worked. Far away in the hidden lab, Dr. Garaki watched the plaza footage and smiled. On his screen, the moment Deadpool's shoulder reset and sealed played on a loop. All for One's voice was calm in the dark. "Now," he said, "we begin." Deku could not stop replaying the plaza in his head. The Nomu had not moved like wild animals. They had moved like a team with one job: grab the red mask, bring him somewhere. That was it. Now every screen in the dorm common room showed the same shaky clips, the same moment where Deadpool's shoulder crushed in, then snapped back into place like a rubber band. The news anchors kept using the same words. Unknown vigilante. Foreign hero. Illegal weapon use. Possible new quirk. They zoomed in on the mask. They zoomed in on the swords. They zoomed in on the blood that didn't stay bleeding. Deku sat on the edge of the couch, notebook open, but he wasn't writing. His pen hovered over the paper like it was afraid. Bakugo paced behind him, making angry little sounds with each step. "This is stupid," Bakugo snapped. "We fight Nomu, and now we have a walking problem living in our school." Kirishima tried to calm him. "He did save that civilian." Bakugo jabbed a finger toward the screen. "He also brought guns to a hero fight." Uraraka hugged a pillow tighter. He was kinda scary, but he didn't run away. Ida stood stiff like a rule book. "The law exists for a reason." Deku swallowed. He remembered the moment Deadpool caught the falling person and took the hit on purpose. That was not a villain move, not a selfish move. Then the dorm doors opened, and the walking problem himself strolled in like he owned the place. Deadpool wore his red and black suit again. No jacket this time. His mask was spotless, like it never got damaged. His hands were empty, but he still moved like he had weapons. He raised both arms like he was greeting a cheering crowd. "Good morning, tiny heroes," he announced. "Did you miss me?" "Of course you did. I'm unforgettable. Literally. My body refuses to forget injuries." Bakugo's palms popped with sparks. Aizawa stepped in right behind Deadpool, looking tired enough to fall asleep standing up. His scarf hung loose, but the way it rested told everyone it could move in a blink. "Don't start," Aizawa said. Deadpool pointed at Aizawa like he was introducing a celebrity. "This man is my emotional support teacher." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. Deadpool quickly added, "He supports me by threatening to erase me with his eyeballs. It's beautiful." Ida took a step forward, face red with shock. "You are not permitted to be in the dorm common area without—" Deadpool pulled a folded paper from a pouch and slapped it on the table like a magician. "Permission slip," Deadpool said. Everyone stared. It was a real UA paper. Official stamp. Nezu's neat signature. Deku leaned closer. The slip said, "Visitor orientation. Observe student environment. Do not cause emotional damage. Return by 10. Deadpool tapped the last line. "I'm already breaking that one, because your friend Boomboy is emotionally damaged on arrival." Bakugo lunged. Aizawa's scarf snapped out and wrapped Bakugo's waist, holding him in place. "Enough!" Bakugo snarled, but he stopped. Deadpool leaned toward the students, lowering his voice like he was sharing a secret. "Okay, real talk. I have a goal." Deku felt his stomach tighten. "What goal?" Deadpool said it like it was a normal school plan. "I want a hero license." Silence fell like a dropped blanket. Uraraka blinked. "A hero license?" Deadpool nodded hard. "Yes. I want the card, the official stamp, the little photo. I want to be legally allowed to do hero things." Ida's arms shot up in a perfect chopping motion. That is not how it works. You cannot simply apply. Deadpool leaned back and pointed at Ida. You're the paperwork boss, I can tell. You're like a walking stamp. Ida looked offended and proud at the same time. Deadpool raised a finger. So here's my question. Where's the form? Aizawa's voice cut in, flat. There is no form for you. Deadpool sagged like a sad balloon. But I love forms. Aizawa stared until Deadpool straightened again. Fine, Deadpool said. Then I'll make my own form. I'll put hero-ish in big letters at the top. Deku tried not to smile. It didn't work, Aizawa noticed. Midoriya, don't encourage him. Deku cleared his throat fast. Sorry. Deadpool pointed at Deku like he was proud. Look at that. Green hair kid respects authority. Adorable. Then Deadpool's mask turned toward the TV again, to the replay of the plaza fight. For a second, his shoulders lowered. Just a little. The students didn't see it. Deku did. Aizawa saw it too. Aizawa's voice softened by one tiny step. You're staying inside today, Deadpool answered lightly. Because you care. Aizawa said, because someone tried to take you. Deadpool's head tilted. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. Aizawa's eyes narrowed again. Not here. Not at my school. Deadpool made a small salute. Yes, sir. Then he walked past the couch and sat down like a normal person, right in the middle of Class 1A, as if this was his new life. Deku stared at him, and the fear inside him took a new shape. Not fear of Deadpool. Fear for him. Because if the villains wanted him, they wouldn't stop. And because the heroes were already starting to argue about what he should be, not who he was, what he was. The meeting happened that afternoon in a quiet room that did not feel like a schoolroom. The windows were thick. The door had extra locks. The table was clean and empty like it expected bad news. Nezu sat at the head of the table. All Might stood beside him, arms crossed, face serious. Aizawa sat with his elbows on the table like he hadn't slept. Endeavor stood near the wall like a furnace with a temper. And across from them sat the Hero Public Safety Commission representative. Suit crisp, eyes sharp, voice smooth like glass. Deadpool was not invited into the room. That was the point. The commission rep opened a folder and slid photos across the table. Still shots from the plaza. Deadpool healing. Deadpool holding the civilian. Deadpool with blood on his suit. UA hosted an unknown, the rep said. An unknown who used firearms in public. An unknown who cannot be restrained by normal quirk protocol. Nezu's small paws folded calmly. He did not shoot civilians. That is not the standard, the rep replied. The standard is no firearms, no unknowns, no threats inside a school. All Might's jaw tightened. He saved someone. Endeavor spoke without looking at All Might. He also drew attention. The Nomu targeted him. That risk is now ours. Aizawa's voice stayed low. The Nomu were already ours. They've been ours for a long time. The rep tapped the folder. This changes the scale. We have confirmed he cannot be neutralized by erasure. Aizawa's eyes flicked up. He didn't deny it. The rep continued, calm and cold. So we treat him as a hazard until proven otherwise. All Might stepped forward one pace. He is a person. The rep met his gaze. So are villains. All Might didn't flinch. He's not acting like a villain. The rep turned a page. We don't know what he is. He refuses identification. He refuses to remove his mask. He refuses to register. He refuses to follow basic law. Nezu's voice stayed polite. He also follows a certain kind of rule. He moved to protect civilians even when he could have escaped. Endeavor's eyes narrowed. Or he enjoyed the attention. Nezu looked at Endeavor. If he enjoyed attention, he would have posed for cameras. Instead, he stayed in the danger until the last person ran. Endeavor's mouth tightened. He didn't answer. The rep leaned forward. "We have a solution. Temporary transfer. A secure facility. Controlled testing. Controlled assignments. We can use him." All Might's hand curled into a fist. "Use him." The rep didn't hide it. "He's a resource that villains want. That means he can be bait, or a shield, or a weapon. We will decide which." Aizawa's eyes went flat. "No." The rep's smile didn't reach his eyes. "This is not your choice." Aizawa leaned back, tired and sharp at the same time. "If you take him, you will make him an enemy. Not because he's evil, because he hates cages." Nezu's tail flicked once, and because he has already lived through something like that. The rep's gaze hardened. "We can keep him contained." All Might took another step forward, voice firm. "You can't contain someone forever without breaking them." The rep's voice stayed smooth. "Then we break him in a useful direction." The room went silent. Endeavor's flames flared once, then settled. All Might's eyes looked darker than usual. "That is not hero work." The rep's folder snapped shut. "Hero work is keeping the public safe." Aizawa spoke like a warning. "You keep the public safe by making monsters behind closed doors, and then you act surprised when they bite." Nezu's smile faded. "He is under UA protection," Nezu said, "for now. We will cooperate with lawful investigation. We will not hand him over like property." The rep stared at Nezu for a long moment. Then he stood. "Fine," he said. "For now. But understand this. If he becomes a threat, the Commission will act, with or without UA." As the rep left, All Might exhaled slowly. Endeavor turned to Aizawa. "Can you stop him if he snaps?" Aizawa didn't pretend. "Not in the usual way." Endeavor's voice dropped. "Then you're gambling." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "We're choosing the gamble we can live with." Nezu looked between them. "We don't need him to be perfect," Nezu said. "We need him to be honest, and we need him to have a reason to stay on the right side." All Might's voice softened. "Then we give him one." Aizawa's face stayed guarded. "And we prepare for the worst anyway." Outside in the hallway, Hawks leaned on a wall like he was bored, but his eyes had heard everything, and his mind was already building a plan. Hawks found Deadpool on the training field later, at the far end, where the cameras couldn't hear every word. Deadpool stood alone, bouncing on his heels like he was warming up. No weapons, no training partner, just him and the open space. Hawks landed quietly behind him. "You're hard to ignore," Hawks said. Deadpool spun fast, then relaxed when he saw the wings. "Oh good, Birdman." Hawks smiled. "Hawks." Deadpool nodded. "Hawky McWingface." "Got it." Hawks didn't react. He kept his friendly face on like a mask. "I watched you in the plaza." Deadpool pointed at himself. "I was great, right?" "You were reckless," Hawks said. "And brave." Deadpool's head tilted. "That's a weird combo." "It's a useful combo," Hawks replied. Deadpool's shoulders stiffened just a little. "Ah, here it comes." Hawks stepped closer. "You know the villains targeted you." Deadpool shrugged. "I'm adorable. People want my autograph." Hawks didn't laugh. "They want you alive." Deadpool's voice went lighter. "I get that a lot." Hawks watched him carefully. "The Commission wants control. UA wants safety. The villains want ownership." Deadpool clapped once. 3 big fans. "I should start a club." Hawks kept his tone soft. "You don't have to be alone in this." Deadpool stared at him. "That's sweet." Hawks held up one hand. "Not sweet. Practical. Work with us." Deadpool blinked. "Us meaning you?" Hawks nodded. I do missions the public doesn't see. Dangerous missions. Quiet missions. You don't need a hero license for them. Deadpool's mask tilted, like he was listening harder. Hawks continued, voice smooth. If you help, we protect you. We keep you away from crowds. We keep you away from kids. We keep you from becoming a headline. Deadpool's shoulders rose and fell once. And what do you get? Hawks didn't hide it. We get a tool that doesn't break. Deadpool's voice dropped. Tool. Hawks met his gaze. Weapon. Shield. Call it what you want. The world is ugly. We do ugly work so kids don't have to. Deadpool went quiet. A gust of wind moved across the field. Hawks watched Deadpool's posture change. The jokes didn't leave, but they slowed down, like a radio turning low. Deadpool finally said, "You're good at this." Hawks smiled a little. At talking? At sounding nice while holding a leash behind your back, Deadpool said. Hawks didn't deny it. Leashes keep people safe. Deadpool laughed once, short and sharp. Leashes also make people bite. Hawks' eyes stayed calm. So what do you want, Deadpool? Deadpool pointed at the school buildings. They want me to be good, he said. But they also want me to be quiet. That's not my skill set. Hawks tilted his head. Then learn. Deadpool shrugged. Maybe. Hawks stepped back, giving space. Think about it. Deadpool raised a finger. I have a counteroffer. Hawks waited. Deadpool said, "You help me get a hero license." Hawks stared. Deadpool nodded like it was serious. I want it legal. I want it real. Hawks exhaled, amused despite himself. You're impossible. Deadpool spread his hands. That's what the doctor said. Hawks' smile returned, professional again. I'll talk to people, he said. No promises. Deadpool pointed at him. That's the nicest no I've ever heard. Hawks turned to leave, wings folding. Don't do anything stupid. Deadpool called after him, cheerful again. I can't promise that. It's my brand. Hawks didn't look back, but his mind was already moving. Because if Deadpool didn't choose a side soon, someone else would choose it for him. That night, Deku found Deadpool sitting alone on a stairwell that led to the roof. The building was quiet. The lights were dim. It felt like the whole school was holding its breath. Deadpool sat with his back against the wall, knees up, arms resting on them. He looked smaller like this, without motion. Deku stopped a few steps away. Deadpool didn't turn his head, but he spoke anyway. If you're here to lecture me about guns, I've already heard it. Deku swallowed. I'm not. Deadpool's mask turned toward him. Then what? Deku stepped closer and sat on the stair above him, keeping some space. I wanted to ask, are you okay? Deadpool stared at him for a second. Then he snorted. No. Deku blinked. He didn't expect such a plain answer. Deadpool leaned his head back against the wall. I mean, he added quickly, I'm always okay. My body doesn't let me not be okay. Deku's fingers tightened on his notebook. That sounds hard. Deadpool shrugged. Hard is one word. Deku hesitated, then asked, why do you joke so much? Deadpool's mask tilted up. Because silence is scary. Deku waited. Deadpool went on, like he hated that he was answering. If I stop talking, I start thinking. If I start thinking, I start remembering. And if I start remembering, I get mad. Deku's throat tightened. Mad at who? Deadpool's voice went light again, but the edge stayed. Everybody. Me. Them. The universe. Whoever made pain a feature. Deku looked down at his notebook. You said you were experimented on. Deadpool nodded once. Deku's voice got smaller. Was it like, what happened to some villains? The Nomu? Deadpool's posture changed. He didn't move much, but something in him locked. Then he breathed out. "Yeah," he said. "Pretty close. Except I was awake for mine." Deku's stomach turned. Deadpool noticed. "Hey," he said quickly, softer. "Don't make that face. I'm not trying to trauma dump on a child." Deku frowned. "I'm not a child." Deadpool pointed at him. "You live in a dorm with homework. You're a child. It's fine." Deku's cheeks warmed, but he didn't back off. "You saved that person," he said. "You didn't have to." Deadpool leaned his head back again. "I know," Deku asked. "So why did you?" Deadpool was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Because I hate bullies." Deku looked at him. Deadpool's voice stayed simple. "Bullies with claws, bullies with masks, bullies in suits. Doesn't matter. I hate them." Deku's heart thumped. He thought of All Might's words. The reason to be a hero, to save people, to stop someone from being hurt. Deadpool scratched at the side of his mask like it itched. "Your world is weird," he said. "You have rules, like real rules. Heroes don't kill, heroes don't steal, heroes don't lie." Deku nodded. "Rules help people trust heroes." Deadpool's laugh was small. "Trust," he repeated. "That's a fancy thing." Deku's voice was careful. "Do you not trust heroes where you're from?" Deadpool leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Where I'm from, people like me don't get to be symbols," he said. "We get to be warnings." Deku swallowed. "All Might thinks you can be better." Deadpool's mask turned toward him. "Do you?" Deku didn't hesitate. "I think you can choose," he said. "Like anyone." Deadpool stared at him for a long time. Then he said, "You're going to be a great hero. Also, you're going to get your heart broken. A lot." Deku's eyes widened. "What?" Deadpool waved a hand like it wasn't important. "Nothing. Ignore me. I'm just allergic to hope." Deku almost smiled. "If you're allergic, why do you keep coming near it?" Deadpool paused. Then he stood up fast, like he needed to move before the feeling got too close. "Okay," he said, bright again. "Roof time. I need air." Deku stood too. "Are you going somewhere?" Deadpool walked up 2 steps, then stopped. He looked back at Deku. His voice got quiet again. "If someone offered you a way to fix something broken inside you," he asked, "would you take it?" Deku frowned. "It depends." Deadpool nodded like he expected that answer. "Smart kid." He turned away and went up the stairs. Deku followed a few steps behind, worried. Because that didn't sound like a random question. It sounded like a trap forming. In a hidden room that smelled like antiseptic and old metal, Dr. Garaki held a small vial up to the light. Inside it was a dark red smear. Not much, but enough. He smiled like he had just found the missing piece of a puzzle. A screen behind him showed a freeze frame from the plaza. The moment Deadpool's shoulder snapped back into place. Garaki tapped the screen with a long finger. "So fast," he whispered. "So stable." A shape moved in the dark behind him. All for One sat like a shadow that had learned how to speak. "You have it?" All for One asked. Garaki bowed his head slightly. "A micro needle in the capture device," he said. "When the creature grabbed him, it took a sample. He didn't notice." All for One's voice was calm. "Good." Garaki set the vial down gently, like it was glass made of dreams. "With this," Garaki said, "we can improve the stability of our bodies. We can reduce rejection. We can push harder." All for One's tone stayed even. "And Shigaraki?" Garaki smiled wider. "Shigaraki can hold more. He can endure more." A low, angry breath came from the other side of the lab. Tamura Shigaraki sat hunched on a chair, fingers twitching, eyes sharp with irritation. "You talk like I'm a shelf," Shigaraki spat. "I don't need some clown's blood." All for One turned his head slightly. You need results. Shigaraki's nails scraped the armrest. I need to crush All Might. I need to crush this hero society. That's it. Garaki's eyes shone. And this Deadpool can help. He is chaos. He is noise. He breaks rules. Shigaraki sneered. Then I'll kill him. All for One's voice sharpened by a thin edge. No! Shigaraki froze. His anger didn't vanish, but it paused. All for One continued, soft again. We don't waste what the world gives us. We take it. We shape it. Garaki nodded eagerly. We can lure him, he said. He wants something. All for One tilted his head. What does he want? Garaki tapped a different screen. It showed Deadpool speaking to Deku on the stairwell, captured by a hidden camera from UA's security system that had been hacked for seconds. His words were clear. Fix something broken. Garaki smiled. A cure, he whispered. All for One's tone was almost gentle. Then we offer him one. Shigaraki's mouth twisted. He's not going to trust villains. All for One's voice stayed smooth. He doesn't need to trust us, he said. He only needs to hope. Garaki clapped his hands softly, delighted. We will build the bait, he said. A clinic. An illegal one. A rumor that spreads in the places desperate people go. All for One's shadow seemed to lean forward. And when he arrives, he said, we don't break him. Shigaraki's eyes narrowed. What do we do? All for One answered, calm as a teacher. We show him a choice. Himiko Toga skipped down a narrow hallway in the League's hideout, humming like she was on her way to a party. Twice looked up from his work and frowned. Why are you smiling like that? Toga spun in place. There's a new boy, she sang. A new masked boy. Twice's shoulders sagged. Oh no, not again. Toga leaned close, eyes bright. He heals, she whispered. He bleeds, and then he stops bleeding. Like it's nothing. Twice muttered. That's horrifying. Toga giggled. It's cute. Twice stared. It isn't cute. Toga pressed her hands to her cheeks. And he wears a mask, she said, dreamy. A mask he won't take off. That means something. People hide what they love and what they hate. Twice rubbed his forehead. Please don't. Toga skipped away again. I want to meet him, she called. I want to see what he tastes like. Twice groaned. That's exactly what I was afraid of. Toga's smile widened as she disappeared down the hallway, because this new person felt like a toy the whole world was tugging on. And Toga loved toys that didn't belong to anyone. 2 days later, a rumor reached UA in the quiet way rumors always did. Not through official channels, not through meetings, through whispers. A support course student heard it from an older sibling. A pro-hero intern heard it from a police friend. A nurse heard it from a patient who didn't want their name written down. There was a miracle clinic in the city, a place that fixed bodies no one else could fix, a place that worked off the books, a place that didn't ask questions. Deku heard it first in a hallway, 2 teachers speaking in low voices. He stopped walking. His danger sense didn't flare, but something inside him still felt wrong. That night, Deku went looking for Deadpool. He found him in the same stairwell, like Deadpool had claimed it as his spot. Deadpool didn't look surprised to see him. Deku asked, "Did you hear about the clinic?" Deadpool's mask turned toward him slowly. "Yep." Deku's stomach dropped. "It could be a trap." Deadpool nodded. "Yep." Deku's voice cracked a little. "Then why?" Deadpool cut him off, gentle but firm. "Because if it's real, I have to try." Deku stared. "But you could get captured?" Deadpool's shoulders lifted in a small shrug. "I get captured a lot. It's kind of my hobby." Deku shook his head hard. "This isn't a joke." Deadpool's voice went quiet. "I know." For a moment, the jokes fell away again. Deadpool stood up. Then he flicked a finger against Deku's notebook. "Don't tell your teacher," he said. Deku's eyes widened. "What?" Deadpool stepped past him, heading upward. "If you tell him, he'll stop me. If he stops me, I'll go anyway. If I go anyway, we'll fight. I don't want to fight your tired cat teacher." Deku turned fast, following. "Then let me come with you." Deadpool stopped at the top step. "No." Deku's chest tightened. "Why not?" Deadpool looked back at him. His voice was simple. "Because you're the kid who still believes in heroes," he said. "And I'm not letting you get cut open in a basement because of me." Deku froze. Deadpool's tone brightened suddenly, like he couldn't stand the serious feeling. "Also, you're too polite to survive the black market. They'll eat you alive." Deku tried to protest, but Deadpool was already moving, and Deku understood something awful. Deadpool had made his choice. He was going, whether anyone liked it or not. The night Deadpool left, the moon was thin and pale over UA. Security was tight. Cameras covered the halls, doors locked with codes. Aizawa's presence alone felt like a fence. Deadpool moved through it anyway, not by punching, not by fighting, by being annoying in a way only he could be. He walked straight into a camera's view, waved, and held up a paper. It was a new permission slip, not from Nezu, from Deadpool. He had drawn a little smiley face stamp in the corner and written in messy handwriting, "Official hero business. Do not arrest." Signed, me. The camera didn't care, but the guard watching the camera did. The guard blinked, confused enough to look away for 1 second. That was all Deadpool needed. He slid a thin tool from his glove and popped open a service panel. He crawled through a maintenance space like he'd done it 100 times in other places with other guards. He came out near a side exit. A keypad glowed. Deadpool stared at it like it was a personal enemy. Then he pressed random numbers. It beeped angry. He pressed more. It beeped louder. Deadpool sighed. "Fine." He pulled out a small wire kit, opened the panel beneath the keypad, and worked fast. Not genius fast, experienced fast. The door clicked open. Deadpool slipped out into the night like a bad idea turning into motion. Across the courtyard, on a roofline, Hawks watched him go. Hawks didn't stop him. Not yet. Because Hawks wanted to see where the trap was, and because Hawks needed proof. He lifted off silently, wings barely moving, and followed at a distance. Deadpool moved through the city like he belonged to the shadows. Musutafu at night had 2 faces. The bright face, stores, lights, police patrols, late-night workers going home. And the dark face, alleys with no cameras, doors with no signs, people who didn't want to be seen. Deadpool went to the dark face. He didn't ask random strangers. He didn't shout. He watched. He looked for small clues. A man with a limp buying bandages with cash and no receipt. A woman with a bruised eye slipping into a side street and not coming out. A delivery van with blacked-out windows and a fake logo. Deadpool followed the van. From above, Hawks followed Deadpool. Hawks's eyes narrowed as the van turned into a narrow area behind an old row of buildings. Deadpool stopped on a rooftop edge and stared down. 2 men in plain clothes opened the back of the van. Inside were people, not tied, but drugged, heads drooping, bodies slumped. Deadpool's hands curled. Hawks saw it. The red mask didn't joke. Deadpool dropped off the roof like a falling stone. He landed behind the men. 1 man turned. "Who?" Deadpool punched him in the throat. The man went down, choking. The other man reached for something in his waistband. Deadpool kicked his wrist hard. A small knife clattered away. Deadpool grabbed the man's shirt and slammed him into the van door. "Clinic?" Deadpool asked, voice low. The man's eyes went wide. "I don't know." Deadpool slammed him again. "Clinic!" The man coughed. We just deliver. Deadpool's grip tightened. Hawks's feathers slid down from above and pinned the man's pant leg to the ground, like a warning. The man screamed. Deadpool looked up, seeing Hawks on a rooftop, half hidden. Deadpool's shoulders relaxed a fraction, like part of him had expected this. Hawks didn't speak. He just watched. Deadpool turned back to the man. Where? He asked. The man shook, eyes darting between the mask and the feather. Old medical building, he gasped. 3 blocks east. White door. No sign. Please. Deadpool let him go. The man collapsed, sobbing. Deadpool didn't finish him. He didn't even knock him out. He just pointed. If you keep doing this, Deadpool said, I will find you again. Then he slammed the van door shut and moved. Hawks dropped down behind him, landing light as dust. You're going to walk into it, Hawks said. Deadpool kept moving. Yep. It's a trap, Hawks said. Deadpool didn't look back. Yep, Hawks frowned. Then why? Deadpool's voice was simple. Because people in that van don't get to say no, he said. And I hate that. Hawks' eyes softened by a tiny amount. Then his professional face returned. Don't do anything you can't undo. Deadpool snorted. Buddy, my whole life is undoing. They moved together down the street, not side by side like friends, but close enough to fight back to back if it came to that. 3 blocks east, the old medical building waited. It looked dead. Paint peeling. Windows dark. A chain on the main gate. But the side door was white. No sign. Deadpool stopped in front of it. He took one slow breath. Then he knocked. The door opened immediately. A woman stood there in a nurse outfit, hair neatly tied, face calm. Her smile was too perfect. Deadpool, she said. Deadpool froze. Hawks's body tensed. Deadpool's mask tilted. Okay, he said quietly. That's new. I didn't tell you my name. The nurse stepped back. Please, she said. Come in. We can help you. Deadpool's voice went light. You can help me? With what? My taxes? The nurse's smile didn't change. With your pain, she said. Deadpool's humor faltered for half a second. Hawks' eyes sharpened. Deadpool stepped inside anyway. Hawks followed, silent. The hallway smelled clean. Too clean. The walls were white. The lights were bright. The floor shined like it had been scrubbed minutes ago. Deadpool looked around and whispered, This is either a miracle or a horror movie. Hawks whispered back, Stay ready. Deadpool lifted his hands. Always. They passed rooms with closed doors. Behind one door, someone moaned softly. Deadpool's steps slowed. The nurse guided them to a room with a chair and a table and a medical screen. It looked like a normal clinic room, but the chair had straps. Deadpool stared at the straps, then looked at the nurse. The nurse smiled. For safety, she said. Deadpool's voice went calm. Whose safety? The nurse's smile stayed. Hawk's feathers lifted slightly. Deadpool took one step back. The floor under his foot clicked, a sound like a button being pressed, and the room changed. Metal panel slid down over the door. The light switched from white to harsh blue. A net fired from the ceiling. It hit Deadpool first. Cables tightened around his arms and legs, pinning him to the floor. Electricity buzzed through the net like angry bees. Deadpool jerked, muscles locking. Hawks exploded into motion, feathers slicing the net's edge, trying to free him. More nets fired. Hawks dodged, but one caught his wingtip and sparked. He hissed, tearing free, but the room was already closing in. The nurse stepped back and watched like this was routine. Deadpool's voice came out strained. I hate doctors! A speaker crackled to life in the corner of the room. A man's voice, thin and cheerful. Welcome, Dr. Garaki said. Please don't struggle too much. We need you intact. Deadpool's whole body went cold. Not from electricity, from memory. Deadpool forced a laugh, shaky and sharp. Ah, great. A voice on a speaker. My favorite kind of nightmare. Hawks's eyes narrowed. Doctor, Hawks said, voice dangerous. You're with the League. Garaki chuckled. Oh, we are with many things, he said. Tonight, we are with progress. Deadpool's net tightened. The electricity surged again. Deadpool's muscles spasmed. Then, slowly, his body began to adjust. Not immune, but stubborn. He clenched his jaw, forced his fingers to move, and grabbed a cable. The electricity burned his glove. It burned his skin. He didn't stop. He yanked. The cable snapped. He yanked another. The net loosened enough for him to pull one arm free. Hawk's feathers cut the rest. Deadpool rolled to his feet, panting. His suit smoked in small spots. His skin healed where it burned. Hawks stepped in close. We leave, Hawks said. Deadpool's mask turned toward the door. The metal panels blocked it. Deadpool's voice went low. Not until I see what's behind those doors. Hawks's face tightened. Deadpool. Deadpool held up a hand. People were in that van, he said. This place isn't just about me. Hawks hesitated. Then he nodded once. Fine. Fast. Deadpool pointed at the nurse. You first, he said, walking toward her. The nurse's calm smile finally cracked. She reached behind her back. A syringe launcher clicked. Deadpool grabbed her wrist and twisted. The launcher fired into the wall. Deadpool slammed her against the medical cabinet. Where are they? He asked. The nurse's eyes widened. I don't know. Deadpool pushed harder. Don't lie. Hawks stepped closer, voice cold. Answer. The nurse shook. Basement, she gasped. Lower level. Door code. Deadpool let her go and sprinted out of the room before she could finish. Hawks swore under his breath and followed. The hallway alarms began to scream. Doors opened down the hall, and something big stepped out. It wasn't a normal Nomu. It was smaller than the plaza ones, but faster. Its skin looked stitched in places, like parts were put together on purpose. Its arms were long, its hands wide, fingers ending in blunt claws meant for grabbing, not slicing. Its mouth opened, and its tongue was too long. It moved like a predator. Deadpool stopped in front of it and said, Oh, you're new. The creature lunged. Deadpool ducked, grabbed a rolling medical cart, and shoved it into the creature's legs. The creature flipped the cart aside like it weighed nothing. Hawks fired feathers at its joints. The feathers hit, but the creature didn't slow much. Deadpool grabbed a metal pole from the wall and swung it into the creature's head. The pole bent. The creature's head snapped sideways. Then it snapped back. Healed. Deadpool's shoulders rose. Okay, he said, annoyed. Copycat. The creature slammed into him and drove him through a door. They crashed into a supply room. Shelves fell. Boxes burst open. Deadpool hit the floor hard. The creature pinned him with one hand and raised the other like a hammer. Hawks burst in, feathers slicing, trying to free Deadpool. The creature turned on Hawks instantly, swiping. Hawks dodged, but a claw clipped his shoulder. Blood sprayed. Hawks gritted his teeth and pulled back, keeping distance. Deadpool's eyes widened behind the mask. Hey, he snapped. No hurting the bird? Deadpool grabbed a box of metal staples, thick ones used for heavy wounds. He smashed them into the creature's wrist joint, jamming them in like spikes. The creature roared and loosened its grip. Deadpool rolled out, snatched a defibrillator from a shelf, and slammed the pads onto the creature's chest. He pressed the button. The shock hit like a lightning punch. The creature's body jerked. It didn't drop, but it stumbled. Deadpool grabbed Hawks by the arm. Basement, he said. Hawks nodded, jaw tight from pain. Left stairwell. They ran. The creature chased. It was fast, but the hallway was tight. Hawks's feathers pinned small bits of debris in its path, forcing it to step over and around. Deadpool kicked a fire extinguisher at its face. White foam exploded. The creature shook its head, blinded for a second. That second mattered. They reached the stairwell. Deadpool yanked the door open and bolted down. Hawks followed. The air got colder with each step. The basement level smelled like metal and chemicals. Deadpool heard voices now. Weak ones. People. He moved faster. At the bottom, a thick door waited with a keypad. Deadpool punched random numbers. It beeped angry. Deadpool groaned. Every time. Hawks stepped up and pressed his hand to the panel. One feather slid into the crack and sparked, shorting it. The door clicked. Deadpool stared. Okay, that was cool. Hawks panted. I do paperwork too, he said. They pushed through. The basement wasn't a clinic. It was a lab. Glass tanks lined the walls. Some were empty. Some had cloudy liquid. Metal tables held tools that were too sharp and too clean. And in the center of the room, strapped to chairs, were people. A man with bruises on his face. A woman with bandages around her arm. A teenager with a shaved head, eyes half open, shaking. Deku's age. Deadpool froze. His mask faced the teenager. For a moment, Deadpool did not move at all. Hawks stepped in front of the chairs, feathers spreading like a shield. We're getting you out, Hawks said quickly. Stay calm. The teenager's eyes flicked to Deadpool's mask. He whispered, Are you a hero? Deadpool's chest tightened so hard it almost felt like it would crack. He forced his voice bright. Obviously, he said. Can't you tell by the fashion? But his hands shook as he started tearing straps. Hawks worked fast too, cutting restraints carefully, not hurting skin. The first person stumbled free, weak. Deadpool supported the teenager by the shoulder. Easy, Deadpool said. We're leaving. A monitor on the wall flickered. Garaki's voice returned through a speaker. Cheerful as ever. Ah, Garaki said. You found them. Good. You see now why we needed you. We needed a body that survives. Deadpool's voice went flat. You're a monster. Garaki chuckled. No. I am a doctor. Deadpool's head snapped up. Doctors help people. Garaki's voice stayed sweet. So do I. I help our future. Hawks glanced around, eyes sharp. We're not alone, he muttered. Deadpool heard the heavy steps behind them. The stitched creature had followed. It came into the lab doorway, shoulders scraping the frame. And behind it, the black mist rolled in like a slow breath. A tall shape formed inside the mist, calm and quiet. Kurogiri's voice floated out, polite as always. Good evening. Hawk's blood ran cold. Warp gate. Deadpool looked at the mist and said, Oh great, the fog has manners. Kurogiri's head tilted. Deadpool, he said, you are requested. Deadpool's hands tightened on the teenager's shoulder. Tell your boss he can request these hands. Hawks hissed. We move, now. Kurogiri lifted an arm, and the mist spread across the floor like a rising tide. It wasn't attacking yet. It was positioning, making exits, making traps. Hawk's feathers shot out to pin the mist edges, but the mist slipped around them. Deadpool pushed the freed people toward the stairwell. Go, he ordered, voice sharp now. Up, don't stop. The man stumbled. The woman helped him. The teenager tried to run, knees shaking. Hawks stayed between them and the doorway. Deadpool turned back to the stitched creature. No weapons, just him. He cracked his knuckles. Okay, he said. Let's dance. The creature lunged. Deadpool met it head on. He didn't try to overpower it. He went low, hooking its leg with his foot and twisting, making it lose balance. It caught itself with an arm. Deadpool jumped onto its back, grabbed its head, and slammed its face into a metal table. The table dented. The creature's face dented too. Then it healed. It roared and threw Deadpool off like tossing a bag. Deadpool hit the floor, rolled, stood. Kurogiri's mist surged toward Deadpool's ankles like hands. Deadpool leaped back. Hawks fired feathers into the ceiling lights, shattering them. The basement dimmed. Shadows filled corners. Hawk's voice came tight. "He's trying to split us." Deadpool spit blood, then watched it stop dripping. "Yeah," he said. "I hate teamwork by evil fog." The stitched creature charged again. This time, it didn't swing. It opened its mouth. A thin dart shot out. Deadpool felt it sting his side. He looked down. A small needle stuck in his suit. Sedative. Deadpool's breath hitched. His knees softened for a second. Hawk's eyes widened. "Deadpool!" Deadpool ripped the needle out and crushed it in his fist. "Cute," he muttered. "Try again." But his body swayed. His healing fought the drug, but it wasn't instant. The stitched creature grabbed him and slammed him into the wall. Deadpool's head hit hard. His vision blurred. He heard Deku's voice in his memory, asking about hope. Deadpool growled. "Not today." He reached behind him, found a metal scalpel tray, and yanked it free. He shoved the tray edge into the creature's elbow joint, jamming it. The creature roared, arms stuck. Deadpool used the moment to shove the creature's head into a glass tank. The tank cracked. Cloudy liquid spilled out. The liquid wasn't acid, but it burned like cold fire. The creature shrieked, trying to pull back. Deadpool grabbed its wrist and held it there, forcing the burn. His own hands burned too. His skin blistered. He kept holding. "Come on," he hissed. "Come on." Behind him, Hawk's feathers shot toward Kurogiri, trying to force space. But Kurogiri simply shifted, mist rolling around the feathers, like water around stones. Hawk's breathing got heavy. His shoulder bled more. Deadpool saw it from the corner of his eye, and something inside him snapped into place. Deadpool let go of the stitched creature and turned toward Hawks. "Take them up!" Deadpool shouted. Hawks blinked. "What?" Deadpool pointed at the stairwell. "Get them out!" Hawks hesitated. "I'm not leaving you." Deadpool barked a laugh, sharp. "I'll be fine. I'm a bad penny. I always come back." Hawks's jaw tightened. Deadpool's voice dropped, serious. "If they get taken again, that's on me," he said. "Go." Hawks stared at Deadpool for 1 second, then nodded. He sprinted after the freed captives, feathers guiding them, supporting the weak. Deadpool turned back to the doorway. Kurogiri watched him. The stitched creature dragged itself free of the burning tank liquid, healing slower now. Garaki's voice crackled again. "Wonderful," he said. "You chose others over yourself. That tells us what we need." Deadpool's mask tilted toward the speaker. "You don't know me." Garaki's voice stayed cheerful. "Oh, we know enough." The black mist surged. It rushed toward Deadpool's legs like a wave. Deadpool jumped back. The mist rose higher, forming a wall that blocked the stairwell. Deadpool's chest tightened. Kurogiri's calm voice returned. "You will come," he said. Deadpool took one slow breath. Then he did something stupid. He ran straight at the mist. He dove through it. The cold hit him like ice water. For a split second, his body vanished into darkness. Then he slammed out the other side, because the mist wasn't a clean doorway yet. Kurogiri hadn't finished shaping it. Deadpool crashed into the floor, rolled, stood. He was closer now, closer to Kurogiri's core. Deadpool sprinted, arms wide. Kurogiri lifted a hand, mist forming a portal edge. Deadpool threw himself into it anyway. The portal snapped shut around his arm like a bite. Deadpool screamed, not from pain, but from surprise. He yanked back hard. His arm tore free. Blood splashed. Kurogiri's eyes widened behind the mist collar. Deadpool's arm was mangled. but it was still attached. Deadpool held it like it was a problem with bad manners. "Rude," he growled. His arm began to heal even as he moved. Deadpool lunged at Kurogiri's neck brace area, trying to grab the device that stabilized him. Kurogiri shifted back, mist swirling. The stitched creature slammed into Deadpool from the side, breaking the tackle. Deadpool flew across the lab and hit the wall again. He slid down, breathing hard. His arm finished healing. His body shook from the sedative fight. He laughed once, breathless. "Okay," he panted. "This is a lot." The lab ceiling lights flickered. Then the building trembled. Above them, something exploded. A wall cracked. Heat rolled down the stairwell like a wave. Endeavor. His voice boomed from above. "Move!" The stairwell door blasted inward, flames swirling around Endeavor like armor. Aizawa sprinted in behind him, scarf ready, eyes already glowing red. Hawks appeared too, guiding the rescued people up and out. Endeavor took one look at the lab and snarled. "So, this is where you hide." Kurogiri's mist shifted, cautious now. Aizawa's gaze locked onto the stitched creature. The creature's movement changed instantly, like something inside it shut down. It stumbled. Its healing slowed. Not gone, because some of it was physical work, not quirk. But enough change to matter. Endeavor didn't waste the moment. He fired a focused blast straight into the creature's chest. The creature roared, body burning, collapsing. Deadpool stared, impressed despite himself. Flamebeard came through. Aizawa's scarf snapped toward Deadpool, not to grab him, just to pull him back and keep him from running into the fire. Aizawa's eyes flicked to him. "You're an idiot," Aizawa said. Deadpool coughed and nodded. "Yep." Endeavor stepped forward, flames rising, ready to destroy the lab itself. Kurogiri's voice stayed calm. "We have enough," he said. A portal opened behind him. Black mist swirled into a doorway. Aizawa tried to move, but the lab shook again. Garaki's voice crackled, cheerful even now. "Oh dear," he said. "It seems we must end the session." A timer beeped somewhere in the lab. Endeavor's eyes widened. "Self-destruct." Aizawa's gaze snapped around. "Everyone out?" Deadpool looked toward the side rooms. He heard another moan. Someone was still here. Someone they missed. Deadpool took one step toward the side hall. Aizawa's scarf snapped around his waist, yanking him back. "No!" Deadpool turned, voice sharp. "There's someone!" Endeavor roared. "Now!" The building shook hard. Ceiling panels fell. Aizawa's eyes widened, and for once, his tired face showed real fear. Not for himself, but for the people still inside. Deadpool felt that fear hit him like a punch. Then Deadpool did what he always did when fear tried to own him. He made a choice. He grabbed Aizawa's scarf with both hands and yanked it off his waist, just enough to slip free. Aizawa's eyes flashed. "Deadpool!" Deadpool sprinted down the side hall. Endeavor cursed and turned to block falling debris with fire blasts, keeping the main exit open. Aizawa hesitated for half a second. Then he ran after Deadpool. Because even if he hated this, he wasn't going to let someone die alone in a hallway. Deadpool kicked open a door. Inside, a young woman lay strapped to a table, half conscious, IV lines in her arm. Deadpool's chest tightened. He didn't know her, but she looked like a person who had been told her life didn't matter. Deadpool ripped the straps, fast. Aizawa cut the lines cleanly with a small blade. The room shook again. A beam fell behind them, blocking the door halfway. Deadpool lifted the woman like she weighed nothing. Aizawa grabbed Deadpool's shoulder. "We go," he said, voice hard. Deadpool nodded. They ran. The hallway buckled. The ceiling cracked open. Debris rained down. Deadpool took most of it on his back, shielding the woman. His body broke under the weight. Bones snapped. Pain flared white. He kept moving anyway. Aizawa used his scarf to yank debris aside, clearing a path. They reached the stairwell just as Endeavor blasted the last blocking wall open. Hawks was there, eyes wide. All Might wasn't with them. His time limit kept him away from long emergencies like this. But the pros present were enough to feel like a storm. Aizawa shouted, "Out!" They burst into the night air. 1 second later, the building behind them collapsed inward with a deep, ugly roar. Fire flashed inside, then died. Dust rose like a gray wave. People coughed. Sirens began again, rushing closer. Deadpool staggered forward, still holding the woman. His back was a mess under his suit. Then his spine straightened, his skin sealed, his breathing steadied. He set the woman down gently and checked her pulse like he had done it before. Aizawa watched him, eyes tired and sharp. Endeavor stared at Deadpool like he was looking at a walking problem that had just saved a life. Hawk's wings folded slowly. "You could have died," Hawk said. Deadpool snorted. "I tried." Hawk's eyes narrowed. "Not funny." Deadpool's humor flickered, then returned weaker. "Sorry," he said. "It's how I work." Aizawa stepped closer. "You disobeyed," he said. Deadpool nodded. "Yep." Aizawa's eyes stayed hard. "You endangered everyone." Deadpool nodded again. "Yep." Aizawa's voice dropped. "And you still ran back in." Deadpool looked away. Aizawa watched him for a long moment. Then Aizawa said, quieter, "I'm going to punish you." Deadpool's mask turned back. "Fair." Aizawa continued. "And I'm also going to—" He paused, like the words tasted strange. "Report that you saved lives." Deadpool's shoulders lifted a fraction. Endeavor turned his head, scanning the dust cloud. "They escaped," he growled. Kurogiri's portal had closed before the collapse. Garaki's voice was gone. The stitched creature was gone too. Pulled away or destroyed, no one could be sure. But the evidence remained. Hawks crouched near a broken case that had been thrown out during the collapse. Inside was a small drive, sealed in plastic. Hawks held it up. "This might be something," he said. Deadpool stared at the drive. He felt the trap's shape now. Not just a lab trap, a life trap. They wanted to see what he would do. They wanted to learn his heart. Deadpool exhaled slowly. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "You knew it was a trap." Deadpool nodded. Aizawa's voice went flat. "Why go?" Deadpool looked at the rescued people being loaded into ambulances. He spoke in simple words, with no jokes at all. "Because I wanted it to be real," he said. "And because even if it wasn't, those people were." Aizawa's throat tightened. Hawks looked down at the drive again, then up at Deadpool. "They're going to come back," Hawks said. Deadpool's mask tilted. "I know." Endeavor's flames rose slightly, steady and angry. "Then we prepare." Aizawa looked at Deadpool like he was trying to place him in a box that didn't exist. Deadpool lifted his hands, empty. "For the record," he said, trying to sound light again, "this should count as community service for my hero license." Hawks actually let out a short laugh, despite himself. Aizawa didn't smile, but he didn't call Deadpool a weapon either. Not this time. As the ambulances pulled away, Deadpool stared at the smoking ruin of the clinic. His chest hurt in a way his healing couldn't fix, because the clinic rumor had been aimed right at his hope, and someone out there had just proven they could pull his strings. Somewhere in the city, in a place nobody could see. All for One listened to the reports, and he smiled in the dark, not because the plan was finished, but because now he knew exactly what to offer next. 2 weeks after the clinic fell, UA still felt like it was holding its breath. The school ran like normal on the outside. Classes, training, lunch breaks, homework complaints. But under that normal layer, there were extra guards, extra cameras, extra meetings behind closed doors. Deadpool noticed everything. He also pretended not to. He woke up in a spare room that used to store old training mats. It had a bed, a desk, and one small window that looked out at a wall. Aizawa called it temporary housing. Deadpool called it my sad hero cave. Every morning, Deadpool did the same thing. He walked into the staff office area like he owned the place, slapped a new paper on the front desk, and announced, "I'm here to apply for my hero license." The papers were never real. One day, it was a crayon drawing of him wearing an All Might cape with the words, "Let me hero," written in giant letters. Another day, it was a checklist. Can I save people? Can I stop bad guys? Can I behave? Do I still deserve a license? Aizawa didn't even look up from his coffee. No, Deadpool would sigh like his whole soul had been crushed. This system is broken. Aizawa would answer, "You are the system's problem." Deadpool would brighten instantly. "So you admit I'm important?" Aizawa would walk away. But the joke wasn't the real routine. The real routine was training. Nezu made that part non-negotiable. Deadpool trained in the gym early, before students arrived. No weapons, no guns, no swords. He practiced movement, balance, and restraint. Aizawa watched from the corner like a bored prison guard who could also destroy your life. Deadpool's fighting style stayed true to what it always was: quick, dirty, creative. He used angles, he used feints, he used anything nearby. The difference now was the rule: no killing, no finishers, no "I stab the problem until it stops moving." At first, Deadpool treated the rule like a prank someone played on him. Then he started taking it seriously in a way that annoyed him, because it was hard. And because deep down, he liked hard when it had meaning. One morning, Aizawa tossed him a rubber knife. "Disarm," Aizawa said. Deadpool spun it in his hand. "Finally, a weapon. I feel emotionally stable." Aizawa pointed at a training dummy with a painted face and a big red X on its chest. "You're not allowed to destroy it." Deadpool stared. "Then why does it look so punchable?" "Because the world is full of punchable things you can't destroy," Aizawa said. Deadpool blinked behind his mask. That was weirdly wise. Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "Do it." Deadpool ran at the dummy, slid low, hooked its leg, and flipped it onto its back without tearing it apart. Then he pressed the rubber knife to its throat and stopped. He held there, breathing. His whole body wanted to go past the stop line. He didn't. Aizawa watched for a long moment. "Again," he said. Deadpool groaned. "You're building a monster." Aizawa answered, "Flat. I'm building a leash." Deadpool's shoulders stiffened. His humor didn't vanish, but it thinned. "Leashes make me bite," he said. Aizawa didn't argue. "Then learn not to bite." Deadpool stared at the dummy. Then he said, "Quieter." "I'm trying." Aizawa's eyes softened by a fraction, like someone had turned a dial one click. "Good," he said. Deku saw Deadpool more now, not as a headline, not as a mystery, as a person moving through UA like a loud ghost. Deadpool didn't sit in class. He wasn't a student. But he showed up near training fields, watching from behind fences, making comments that were half jokes and half real. When Deku practiced full cowling, Deadpool shouted, "Green Lightning Kid. Remember, knees are a suggestion." Deku almost tripped. When Bakugo sparred, Deadpool yelled, "Boom, Gremlin. You're doing great. Your emotional growth is still pending." Bakugo tried to chase him once. Aizawa stopped it with one tired look. The weirdest part was how the class started adjusting. They didn't trust Deadpool. Not fully. But they didn't treat him like a villain either. He had a place now. A strange, awkward place. Like a chair that didn't match the rest of the room, but everyone had stopped pointing at it. One afternoon, Deku found Deadpool sitting on the grass outside the gym, filling out a real form. A real, official form. Deku's eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" Deadpool held it up like it was sacred. "I stole it." Deku's face fell. "Deadpool!" Deadpool quickly added, borrowed it, with aggressive hope. Deku leaned closer. The form was for provisional hero licensing, full of boxes, rules, and required signatures. Deadpool had already written his name in big, messy letters. "Deadpool, legal hero pending," Deku whispered. "That's not how you write a legal name." Deadpool tapped the paper. "It's the most legal name I have right now." Deku noticed the next section. Quirk. Deadpool had written, "Not a quirk," more like a curse with benefits. Deku's mouth opened, then closed. Deadpool looked up at him. "You think it's funny," Deadpool said. Deku tried to deny it, but his face gave him away. Deadpool nodded like he approved. "Good," he said. "Never lose that. This world is heavy. You need laughs, or you'll crack." Deku sat beside him, careful. "Are you really going to apply?" Deadpool's mask turned toward the school buildings. "I want to," he said. "But they'll say no." Deku's voice got small. "Because of the guns?" Deadpool shrugged. "Because of everything," he said. "Because I don't fit the shape." Deku thought of how society treated villains, how quickly people decided what someone was. "You can change," Deku said. Deadpool snorted. "My body changes every time I get punched." Deku pushed gently. "Your choices." Deadpool's mask tilted. "Yeah," he said. "Choices." He stared at the form like it could bite him. Then he folded it carefully and tucked it into his pouch, like it mattered. That night, Deku wrote in his notebook. He jokes, but he wants something real. The commission didn't like that Deadpool was settling in. They liked control. They liked categories. They liked to know where every dangerous thing was stored. Deadpool wasn't stored. So they came to UA again. Not with smiles this time. 2 agents arrived in black suits, quiet and sharp. They didn't bring threats out loud. They didn't need to. The threats lived inside their calm. Aizawa met them at the front office with Nezu and All Might, though All Might was in his thin form now. Wearing a yellow shirt and looking tired. Deadpool was not invited. Deadpool was, of course, nearby anyway. He listened from behind a corner because he was excellent at being where he wasn't supposed to be. One agent spoke first. "The commission has reviewed the clinic incident." Nezu smiled politely. "I'm sure it was a thrilling read." The agent ignored the joke. "He entered a trap. He engaged a known villain operation. He caused a building collapse." All Might's voice was quiet but firm. "He also saved captives." The second agent's eyes didn't change. "He also disobeyed pro instructions. He's unstable." Aizawa's voice stayed flat. "He's chaotic, not unstable." The first agent slid a folder forward. "New directive. The subject will be moved to a controlled facility." All Might stiffened. "No." The second agent met his gaze. "With respect, Toshinori Yagi, this is not your call." Deadpool's head snapped up behind the corner. All Might didn't flinch. "He is under UA protection." The first agent's voice stayed smooth. "UA is a school, not a prison, not a lab. You cannot hold him." Nezu's smile thinned. "We are not holding him," Nezu said. "We are sheltering him." The second agent tapped the folder. "He is a danger magnet. Wherever he goes, villains follow." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "That's not his fault." The first agent said, It doesn't matter whose fault it is. All Might's hands curled, tight. He's a person, the agent replied. He's a resource. Deadpool's shoulders rose. The word landed in him like a punch. Nezu leaned forward, voice calm. If you take him, Nezu said, you will create the very threat you fear. The second agent didn't blink. Then we will contain the threat we created. Aizawa's scarf twitched, but he didn't move. He will not cooperate, Aizawa warned. The first agent's smile was thin. Then we have methods. All Might took a step forward, voice low. If you treat him like a monster, you will get a monster. The agents didn't answer that. They simply left the folder on the table like a final note. Then they walked out as if the building belonged to them. Deadpool backed away into the hall, heart hammering under his suit. He hated cages. He hated labs. He hated people deciding his value with calm voices and clean hands. He walked fast, then faster, until he reached the empty gym. He shut the door behind him. He stood there alone, breathing hard. Then he did something he almost never did. He took the mask by the edges like he might lift it. His hand stopped. He didn't remove it. Instead, he pressed his forehead against the cool wall and whispered, "Not again." Later that night, All Might found him. Not All Might the symbol. Toshinori Yagi, thin and tired, moving quietly like a man who knew how breakable his time was. He didn't enter the gym loudly. He just stood near the doorway until Deadpool noticed. Deadpool didn't turn around at first. Toshinori spoke softly. "They want to move you." Deadpool's voice was rough. "Yeah." Toshinori stepped closer. "I argued." Deadpool laughed once, bitter. "And they nodded and ignored you, right? Welcome to my life." Toshinori didn't deny it. They believe control is safety. Deadpool finally turned, mask facing him. "Is it?" he asked. Toshinori's eyes were kind and sad. "Sometimes," he admitted. "And sometimes it becomes cruelty." Deadpool's shoulders lowered a fraction. "You get it," Deadpool said. Toshinori nodded. "I've seen what fear makes people do," he said. "I've also seen what hope makes people do." Deadpool snorted. "Hope makes people dumb." Toshinori smiled slightly. "Hope makes people brave." Deadpool stared at him for a long moment. Then he asked the question that had been sitting in him since the clinic. "If I had a chance to fix this," Deadpool said, tapping his chest, "would you tell me not to take it?" Toshinori's smile faded. He understood the trap even without hearing Garaki's voice. "I would tell you to be careful," Toshinori said. "I would tell you to ask who is offering, and what they want in return." Deadpool's voice got sharp. "What if they want me?" Toshinori stepped closer, until he was within arm's reach. "Then the answer is no," he said, firm, "because you are not property." Deadpool's hands curled. "Tell that to the suits," he muttered. Toshinori's voice stayed gentle. "If you stay here," he said, "we will protect you as long as we can." Deadpool's mask tilted. "As long as you can," he repeated. "And then what?" Toshinori didn't lie. "Then you will still have to choose," he said. Deadpool looked away. "I hate choosing," he said. "Every choice costs someone." Toshinori's voice softened. "That's what being a hero is," he said. Deadpool laughed, small and tired. "Then maybe I'm not built for it." Toshinori shook his head. "You ran back into the lab," he said. "You carried someone out. You didn't have to." Deadpool's mask faced him again. "I did," he said. Toshinori asked, "Why?" Deadpool's voice went quiet. "Because I know what it feels like to be on that table." Toshinori's expression tightened with anger. Anger at the world, not at Deadpool. Then Toshinori did something simple. He bowed his head slightly. "Thank you," he said. Deadpool froze. He didn't know what to do with thanks, so he joked, because that was safer. "You're welcome," Deadpool said. "I accept payment in compliments and dramatic speeches." Toshinori smiled again, small. "I can provide one of those," he said, "but not the other." Deadpool's shoulders loosened. For a moment, the gym felt lighter. Then the lights flickered. Not a power outage flicker. A wrong flicker. Deadpool's head snapped toward the ceiling. Toshinori's posture changed instantly, protective. From the far corner of the gym, black mist spilled out of nothing. It rolled across the floor like smoke that had learned how to crawl. Deadpool's chest tightened. Toshinori stepped forward, voice hard. "Who's there?" The mist rose. A tall figure formed inside it, calm and neat. "Kurogiri." "Good evening," Kurogiri said politely. "All might." Toshinori's eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't be here." Kurogiri's head tilted. "And yet, I am." Deadpool's voice turned sharp. "Hey, Fog Butler," he said. "Wrong building. This is a school." Kurogiri's gaze slid to Deadpool. "Deadpool," he said, as if tasting the name. "We have an offer." Deadpool didn't move. "Hard pass." Kurogiri didn't react. "Please listen," he said. "It is generous." Toshinori took another step forward. "Leave," he ordered. Kurogiri's mist shifted, but not aggressively. It formed a half circle, closing doors, blocking exits. Not trapping them completely, just making the room feel smaller. Deadpool's hands flexed. No weapons, no tools, just him. Kurogiri's chest mist swirled, and a new voice spoke from within it. A voice like calm thunder. "All might," All for One said. Toshinori's blood ran cold. Deadpool's mask tilted. "Oh," Deadpool whispered. "That voice, that's a big bad voice." All for One continued, smooth and patient. "And Deadpool," he said, "the one who refuses to die." Deadpool raised a finger. "Technically, I die a lot. I just don't stay dead." All for One ignored the joke. "You want relief," he said. "You want your pain to end. You want your body to stop being a prison." Deadpool's humor froze. Toshinori's voice sharpened. "Don't listen." All for One's tone stayed gentle. "I can give you what you want," he said. "A cure, a stable body, a quiet mind." Deadpool's throat tightened. "What do you want?" he asked. All for One answered like it was obvious. "You," he said. Deadpool's shoulders rose, tense. "Nah," he said. "I'm taken." All for One's voice stayed calm. "Taken by who?" he asked. "A school? A tired teacher? A government that calls you a resource?" Deadpool flinched. Toshinori stepped forward again, voice dangerous. "Enough." All for One spoke as if Toshinori wasn't there. "Come with us willingly," he said, "and I will restore you." Deadpool's mask tilted. "Restore me," he repeated, "like I'm a broken toy." "All of us are broken," All for One said. "Some of us choose to be rebuilt." Deadpool's hands shook. He hated that the offer hit him. He hated that the offer felt warm in the cold part of him. Toshinori's voice softened, trying another way. "Deadpool," he said. "Look at what they did in that clinic." All for One replied smoothly. "Those were crude methods. Garaki is impatient." Deadpool's voice turned sharp. "He strapped people to tables." All for One's tone didn't change. "And hero society throws people away," he said. "It creates villains, and then acts surprised." Deadpool laughed once, bitter. "You're trying to recruit me with social commentary." All for One's voice dipped. "I'm trying to free you," he said. "Your healing is a gift and a curse. I can remove the curse." Deadpool stared at the mist. He imagined waking up without pain, without the constant itch under his skin, without the memories that crawled in when he got quiet. He imagined a normal breath, a normal day, Then he imagined the cost. A cage that felt like comfort. A leash that felt like relief. Deadpool's voice went low. "If I come with you," he asked, "do I get to say no later?" All for One's pause was tiny, but it was real. Deadpool felt it. Deadpool nodded slowly. "Yeah," he said. "That's what I thought." Toshinori's eyes widened. "Deadpool." Deadpool held up a hand. "I'm not saying yes," he said quickly. "I'm just acknowledging the pitch." All for One's voice stayed patient. "You can pretend you have freedom with them," he said. "Or you can have purpose with us." Deadpool's laugh turned sharp again. "Purpose?" he repeated. "You mean being your pet project?" All for One's tone hardened just a fraction. "Be careful," he warned. "You are not in a position to insult me." Deadpool stepped forward. No weapon, no armor, no fear on his face, only anger behind the mask. "Oh, I know," Deadpool said. "You're the guy who thinks he can buy people with promises." All for One's voice smoothed again. "I can buy you with truth," he said. "Hero society will never accept you." Deadpool answered, "Maybe." All for One pressed. "They will lock you away." Deadpool said, "Maybe." All for One continued, "They will fear you." Deadpool said, "They already do." All for One's voice was almost kind again. "Then choose someone who understands monsters," he said. Deadpool's voice cut like a blade. "I'm not a monster," he said. Toshinori's chest loosened, like air returned. Deadpool continued, louder, "I'm a guy who got hurt and kept moving." All for One's voice turned colder. "Then prove it," he said. The mist surged. Kurogiri's portal widened like a mouth opening. Inside it, Deadpool saw something that made his blood turn to ice. A room. Not this gym. A different place. A lab table. A child strapped down. The child's face was blurred by the portal swirl, but the shape was clear. The fear was clear. All for One spoke softly. "A gift," he said. "A reason." Toshinori stepped forward like he would jump into the portal with his bare hands. Deadpool moved first. He lunged toward the portal edge, not to go through it, but to grab Kurogiri's stabilizing collar and yank. Kurogiri's eyes widened. Deadpool's fingers closed on the collar. Kurogiri's mist sputtered. The portal wobbled. Toshinori used the moment. Even in his thin form, Toshinori moved with a hero's instinct. He slammed his fist into the mist core where Kurogiri held shape. It didn't hurt Kurogiri like a normal body, but it disrupted him. The portal shuddered. Deadpool yanked harder. Kurogiri's mist burst apart like smoke in a wind. The portal snapped shut. The image of the strapped child vanished. Deadpool stumbled back, breathing hard. His hands trembled. Toshinori stared at him. "Deadpool." Deadpool's voice was raw. "That was a lie," he said. Toshinori's eyes narrowed. "Or a hostage." Deadpool swallowed. "Either way, it's a hook," he said. The mist regathered, thinner now. Kurogiri's voice was strained but polite. "That was discourteous," he said. Deadpool pointed at him. "You tried to show me a kid on a table," he snapped. "We are past manners." All for One's voice returned, colder now. "You could have been whole," he said. Deadpool laughed, shaky. "Yeah," he said, "and you could have been decent." All for One's tone lowered. "Then suffer," he said simply. Kurogiri's mist surged again. This time it wasn't just a portal, it was smoke that grabbed. It wrapped around Deadpool's ankles and yanked. Deadpool slipped, hit the floor, and rolled. Toshinori stepped in front of him, eyes fierce, body shaking with anger. "Enough," Toshinori said. Kurogiri hesitated. All for One's voice spoke through him. "All might," he said. "You can't protect him forever." Toshinori's voice was quiet and deadly. Watch me try. The mist pulled back, not because All for One was afraid, because All for One had gotten what he wanted. He had shown the offer. He had tested the hook. He had proven Deadpool could be tempted, and that temptation could be turned into a weapon. Kurogiri's mist began to fold inward. Deadpool shoved himself up, panting. "Tell your boss," he called, voice sharp, "that my answer is no." Kurogiri paused before fading. "I will relay," he said. Then he vanished into nothing. The gym light steadied again, like the world had decided to pretend it didn't happen. Toshinori's shoulders sagged. He coughed into his hand. A small stain of blood appeared. Deadpool's posture changed instantly. "Hey," he said, softer. "You okay?" Toshinori wiped his mouth quickly. "Yes," he lied. Deadpool stared, then nodded like he understood lying for the sake of others. Toshinori looked at him. "They will come again," he said. Deadpool's voice was quiet. "I know." Toshinori asked, "What will you do?" Deadpool stood there in the empty gym, feeling something heavy settle inside him. He wanted to stay. He wanted to be safe. He wanted to belong. But the more he stayed, the more UA became a target. And the more the Commission watched him like a ticking bomb. Deadpool took a slow breath. Then he said the choice out loud. "I'm leaving the school," Deadpool said. Toshinori's eyes widened. "Deadpool." Deadpool held up a hand. "Not leaving the world," he said. "Not leaving the fight. Just not sleeping in the kid's house." Toshinori's voice softened. "They'll call you a runaway?" Deadpool shrugged. "They call me worse on weekdays." Toshinori looked pained. "You don't have to do this alone." Deadpool's mask tilted. "I'm not alone," he said. "I'm just not caged." He stepped closer to Toshinori and lowered his voice. "And if that voice ever comes back," Deadpool said, "and I start sounding like I might say yes, you punch me in the face." Toshinori blinked. Deadpool nodded like it was a serious contract. "Promise." Toshinori managed a small smile. "I promise," he said. Deadpool's shoulders loosened, like the promise mattered. Then he turned toward the door. And for the first time since arriving, he walked away from safety on purpose. Aizawa caught him at the front gate before sunrise. Deadpool had a small bag slung over his shoulder. Not much, just basics. Aizawa stood in his path like a wall that didn't care how tough you were. "You're leaving," Aizawa said. Deadpool stopped. "Yep." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. "You know the Commission will call this non-compliance." Deadpool nodded. "Yep." Aizawa's voice stayed flat. "You know villains will follow you." Deadpool nodded again. "Yep." Aizawa stared at him for a long moment. Then Aizawa said, "Why?" Deadpool's mask tilted toward the dorm buildings behind the gate. "Because kids live there," he said. Aizawa's eyes tightened. Deadpool continued, voice simple. "They're targeting me," he said. "If I'm inside, they'll come inside." Aizawa's scarf twitched, like his body wanted to grab Deadpool and drag him back. But he didn't. He asked, "Where will you go?" Deadpool shrugged. "Somewhere annoying," he said. "Harder to find, easier to move." Aizawa's voice lowered. "You're not a hero," he said. "Not officially. Not legally. You don't have protection." Deadpool's humor flashed. "I have health insurance," he said. "It's called regeneration." Aizawa didn't smile. Then quietly, Aizawa reached into his pocket and tossed Deadpool a small object. A phone. Old model. Tough case. Deadpool caught it, surprised. "What's this?" Aizawa said. "A line that doesn't go through normal channels." Deadpool's mask tilted. "You're giving me a burner phone," he said, delighted. "You are so much cooler than you pretend." Aizawa's eyes narrowed. Don't make me regret it." Deadpool turned the phone over in his hands. "Is this the part where you say you care?" Aizawa said. "No." Deadpool nodded, satisfied anyway. "Okay." Aizawa stepped aside. "If you hurt a student," he said, voice hard, "I will stop you." Deadpool's voice turned quiet. "Fair," he said. Aizawa added, even quieter, "If someone tries to chain you again, call." Deadpool froze. Aizawa's face stayed tired and strict, but that second line was real. Deadpool's chest tightened. He gave a small salute. "Yes, sir," he said. Then he walked out through the gate into the sleeping city. Aizawa watched until the red suit disappeared into the dark. He didn't feel relief. He felt the weight of a new kind of responsibility. Because now the anomaly wasn't in UA, it was out there. And it still cared enough to protect the school it didn't belong to. The next attack came 3 days later, not at UA, in a shipping yard by the river. Deadpool chose the place. He picked it because there were no kids, no crowds, just metal containers, empty roads, and water. He stood in the open, hands in the air like he was waiting for a bus. A black mist rolled in behind him. Kurogiri formed from it, calm as always. Deadpool didn't turn around. "Hi, Fog Butler," he called. "Nice to see you again. Please leave." Kurogiri said, "You have made this inconvenient." Deadpool shrugged. "That's my love language." The mist swirled, and All for One's voice spoke through it again. "You left the school," All for One said. "Clever." Deadpool looked up at the sky like he was thinking. "Thanks," he said. "I'm trying new hobbies. Like not getting children killed." All for One's tone was smooth. "You think you can outrun a world," he said. Deadpool answered, "No," with surprising honesty. "I think I can choose where I get chased." The mist expanded. Shapes moved inside it. Nomu. Not the same as before. Different builds, different purpose. These weren't built to smash. They were built to capture. One had thick arms with clamp-like hands. Another had a body that looked rubbery, meant to absorb impacts. A third moved low and fast, like a hunting dog. Deadpool's shoulders rolled. "Okay," he said. "Let's do no kids get hurt mode." He sprinted first. He ran straight toward the containers, using the maze of metal to break line of sight. The Nomu followed. Deadpool climbed, leaped, slid, and dropped like a parkour machine with bad manners. He didn't fight to win. He fought to pull them deeper into the maze. The rubbery one slammed into him and stuck to him like glue, trying to pin him. Deadpool grunted. "Hate this!" He grabbed a loose chain, wrapped it around the creature's arm, and jumped off the edge of a container. The chain yanked tight. The creature swung. Deadpool slammed it into a container wall. The glue grip loosened. Deadpool rolled free and sprinted again. A clamp hand Nomu lunged and snapped a metal cuff around Deadpool's wrist. The cuff tightened instantly, pumping something cold into his veins. Deadpool's breath hitched. His knees softened. All for One's voice stayed calm. "Sedative," he said. "You can heal wounds. Can you heal sleep?" Deadpool's laugh came out shaky. "Buddy," he panted, "I can heal anything except my personality." He ripped his own cuffed wrist hard against a sharp container edge. The skin tore. The cuff loosened slightly. Deadpool yanked again. Pain flashed. Blood splashed. The cuff popped off and clattered to the ground. His wrist healed in seconds. He didn't stop moving. But the sedative was still inside him. His steps got heavier. His vision blurred at the edges. Then feathers sliced through the air like a storm. Hawks dropped from above, landing on a container roof. "You picked a dramatic spot," Hawks called. Deadpool looked up, relieved and annoyed at once. "Hey, Birdman," he panted. "I didn't invite you." Hawks smiled. "You left your 'please don't follow me' note at home." Aizawa appeared next, leaping from the shadows, scarf snapping out. Endeavor landed like a meteor, heat rolling off him in a wave. Deadpool's mask tilted. "Okay," he whispered. "Avengers assemble, but make it angry." Endeavor's voice was a growl. "You lured them here." Deadpool shrugged, breathing hard. "You're welcome." Aizawa's eyes flashed red, locking onto the fast-hunting Nomu. It stumbled instantly, movements dulling. Hawks's feathers pinned its legs. Endeavor blasted a focused stream of fire that turned the air into shimmering heat. The Nomu screamed. It didn't die easily, but it broke. It fell and stopped moving. Deadpool watched, impressed. "Okay," he muttered. "That was pretty." All for One's voice came again through Kurogiri, softer now. "You brought friends," he said. Deadpool's laugh was weak. "Yeah," he said. "Turns out I have 1.5 friends." Hawks's feathers shot toward Kurogiri, trying to disrupt him. Kurogiri shifted, portals opening and closing like blinking eyes. Endeavor tried to burn the mist, but the smoke slipped away. Aizawa moved forward, eyes locked, trying to keep Kurogiri's form unstable. Deadpool felt the sedative dragging at him like a hand on his shoulder. He knew what All for One wanted, not just his body, his surrender, his yes. Deadpool forced himself upright and stepped toward the mist. "Hey," Deadpool called. "Big voice, you still offering that cure?" All for One paused. Hawks snapped. "Deadpool, don't." Deadpool raised a hand. "Let me talk," he said. He faced the mist. "Here's the thing," Deadpool said. "Your cure isn't a cure. It's a collar." All for One's tone stayed calm. "You misunderstand," he said. Deadpool answered, "No." Firm. "I understand perfectly. You want a toy that can't break. You want a body that doesn't stop." He took another step forward. His legs shook. The sedative tugged at him. He didn't step back. "I'm not your resource," Deadpool said. All for One's voice dipped, colder. "You will be," he said. Deadpool laughed, breathless. "Try harder," he said, "but do it somewhere else. Because these guys," he jerked his chin toward the heroes, "they don't do collars." Endeavor's flames rose higher. Aizawa's stare stayed locked, unblinking. Hawk's feathers tightened in the air, ready. Deadpool's voice softened just a little, like the real person inside the joke finally spoke. "And if you want me," Deadpool said, "you'll have to take me with my choice still mine." For a second, there was only wind and distant water. Then All for One's voice became smooth again. "Very well," he said. "Then, we take something else." Kurogiri's mist shifted. A portal opened behind Deadpool, silent. Deadpool's danger sense didn't exist, but Aizawa's did. His instincts, his eyes. Aizawa spun. "Behind!" A figure stepped out of the portal holding a small device, a black capsule, the same kind that had cracked open in the plaza. Hawks reacted instantly, feathers slicing toward the device, but the figure wasn't trying to throw it at the heroes. He threw it at the river. The capsule hit the water. It sank. Then the river bubbled. A low, ugly sound rose, like something waking up under the surface. Endeavor swore. "What did you do?" All for One answered calmly. "A test," he said. The water surged. A mass of dark, shifting flesh rose from the river like a living spill. Not a full creature with a face. More like a weapon made of bodies. Built to spread and grab. It reached toward the shore with thick tendrils. Deadpool's mask snapped toward the river. He saw the problem immediately. If that thing touched the city side, it could spread fast. Civilians would die. All for One's voice was soft, almost pleased. "Choose," he said. Deadpool's chest tightened. He didn't even think. He ran straight toward the river. Endeavor shouted, Idiot! Deadpool yelled back. It's my brand! He jumped onto a container edge, grabbed a heavy chain connected to a crane hook, and yanked it loose. The hook fell, swinging. The river mass reached up. Deadpool swung the hook straight into it. The hook sank deep. The mass grabbed it, trying to pull it in. Deadpool planted his feet, wrapped the chain around his waist, and pulled back with everything he had. His body wasn't the strongest. But his body didn't quit. Endeavor moved instantly, blasting fire at the river mass to keep it from spreading. Steam exploded into the air. Hawks' feathers sliced tendrils that reached too far. Izawa's quirk did nothing to it. Because it wasn't a normal quirk user, it was a thing. So Izawa did what he always did. He adapted. He threw his scarf to anchor Deadpool's chain to a container, adding leverage. Deadpool's waist jerked as the chain tightened. Bones cracked. Pain flashed. Deadpool gritted his teeth and pulled anyway. "Pull it deeper," Izawa shouted. Deadpool coughed. "Working on it." Endeavor stepped closer to the river edge, flames roaring, trying to burn the mass down faster than it could grow. The mass screamed without a mouth, bubbling and twisting. Hawks called. "It's reacting to the capsule. Find the source." Deadpool's mask snapped toward where the capsule sank. He couldn't see underwater, but he had a guess. He yanked the chain harder, dragging the hooked mass sideways. As it shifted, a darker knot appeared near the surface, like a core. Deadpool pointed. There. Endeavor focused his fire into a tight lance and punched it into the core. The river boiled. The mass convulsed. Then it collapsed inward like a deflating balloon, sinking back into the water in smoking chunks. For a moment, everything went quiet. Deadpool stood on the container edge, panting, body shaking, waist already healing where it had been crushed. He looked at the mist. Kurogiri's form had shifted back, guarded. All for One's voice came again, calm as ever. "You chose them again," he said. Deadpool's voice was rough. "Yeah," he said, "it's getting annoying." All for One's tone stayed even. "Then you will continue to bleed for a world that fears you," he said. Deadpool snorted. "I bleed all the time," he said. "It's not special." Izawa stepped forward, scarf ready. "This ends," he said. All for One replied, "Not tonight." Kurogiri opened a portal behind him. Hawks' feathers shot, but the mist slipped away. Endeavor launched a final blast, but Kurogiri warped the edge of the flame. The villains retreated into the dark doorway, like smoke being sucked away. Before the portal closed, All for One spoke one last time. "Your cure will still be waiting," he said, "when you are tired enough." Deadpool raised a hand and waved with 2 fingers. "Tell it I said no," he called. The portal snapped shut. Only wind remained. Water steamed. And the heroes stood in a circle around the unkillable nuisance who had just saved a river from turning into a disaster. Endeavor stared at Deadpool, face hard. "You're a magnet," he said. Deadpool panted and nodded. "Yep." Endeavor's eyes narrowed. "If you bring this near the public again..." Deadpool cut him off, voice tired but firm. "I didn't bring it," he said. "I pulled it away." Endeavor paused. Hawks stepped closer, rubbing his injured shoulder. "He's right," Hawks said. "He's been choosing empty places." Izawa looked at Deadpool, eyes tired. "You're still reckless," he said. Deadpool nodded. "Yep." Izawa continued. "You're still loud?" Deadpool nodded again. "Yep." Izawa's voice dropped. "But you keep choosing people." Deadpool didn't answer, because if he answered, it might be too real. Izawa took a slow breath. "Here's the deal," Izawa said. "You don't live at UA, but you don't disappear either." Deadpool blinked. "Are you giving me probation?" Izawa's eyes narrowed. "Call it whatever you want." Deadpool's shoulders loosened. "Cool," he said. "Probation is basically a pre-hero license." Hawks laughed quietly. Endeavor grunted like he hated agreeing with anything. Aizawa held up the burner phone again with 2 fingers. "You keep this on," he said. "You warn us. You don't drag kids into war." Deadpool nodded once, serious. "Deal." Aizawa added, "And if the commission tries to grab you..." Deadpool smiled under his mask. "I'll bite," he said. Aizawa's eyes didn't change. "You call," he corrected. Deadpool sighed. "Fine," he said. "I call, then I bite." Aizawa turned away like that was the best he was going to get. Deadpool stared at the steaming river. He still felt the pull of that offer. He still felt the hunger for relief. But he also felt something else now. A line, a boundary, a choice he had made twice, and that made the 3rd time easier. A week later, the school felt different. Not safe, but steadier. Deadpool didn't sleep in the spare room anymore. He didn't show up in the dorm common room like a loud ghost. Instead, he appeared when needed. Sometimes it was a late-night call from Hawks, a suspicious shipment, a weird lab smell, a quiet rumor. Sometimes it was an encrypted message from Aizawa. "Don't be seen. Stay near the perimeter. We have eyes on a portal signature." Deadpool would answer with a selfie of his mask and a thumbs up. And then he would show up anyway, like an ugly guardian angel with bad jokes. He started leaving behind his own rules, scribbled on little sticky notes he taped in strange places. One was on the outside wall near a patrol route. Rule 1. No kids in portals. Another was on the inside of a container warehouse door. Rule 2. If you see mist, call your tired teacher. Aizawa found the notes and didn't remove them. He pretended he didn't see them, which, in Aizawa language, was almost affection. The quiet moment came on a cloudy afternoon, when the wind was gentle and the campus looked normal from far away. Deku sat on a bench near the training field, notebook open, trying to write. He heard footsteps. He looked up and froze. Deadpool stood there in his suit, hands behind his back like he was hiding something. Deku blinked. "How did you get in?" Deadpool pointed up. "Roof access," he said. "Also, I'm like a raccoon." "Fences are a suggestion." Deku stood quickly. "Are you okay?" Deadpool gave him a thumbs up. "Still alive," he said. "So yes." Deku frowned. "That's not what I meant." Deadpool's mask tilted. "I know," he said. He walked past Deku and sat on the bench like it belonged to him. Then he pulled out a folded paper, the hero license application, the real one. Deku's eyes widened. "You still have it?" Deadpool nodded. "It's my emotional support paperwork." Deku sat again, careful. "Are you going to submit it?" Deadpool stared at the paper for a long moment. Then he shook his head. "Not yet," he said. Deku's chest tightened. "Why?" Deadpool held up the paper. "Because if I hand this in, they'll judge me by boxes," he said. "And I don't fit boxes. I break boxes, sometimes with bullets." Deku swallowed. Deadpool's voice softened. "But I'm learning," he added. He tapped the paper again. "This world has a hero shape," he said. "I'm not that shape." Deku asked quietly. "So what are you?" Deadpool leaned back on the bench and looked up at the cloudy sky. "I'm a warning," he said, almost repeating his old words. Then he shook his head. "No," he corrected. "I'm trying to be a choice." Deku stared at him. Deadpool turned his mask toward him and pulled something out from behind his back. A small card, handmade. It was cut from thick paper and laminated with tape. A picture of Deadpool's mask was drawn in the corner with a marker. At the top, it said, "Provisional Hero License." Under that, in messy writing, Name, Deadpool. Hero. Name, Deadpool, still pending approval. Allowed to. Save people. Stop bad guys. Be annoying. Not allowed to. Hurt kids. Join villains. Pretend pain is normal. At the bottom, it was signed. Signed. Me. Witnessed. A kid who believes. Deadpool held it out to Deku. Deku blinked. You made this. Deadpool nodded. It's not legal, he said quickly. It's symbolic. Like a sticker. But cooler. Deku took it with both hands like it was fragile. His throat tightened. Deadpool pointed at it. That's my promise, he said. If I ever forget what side I'm on, you show me that. Deku's voice cracked. Why me? Deadpool shrugged, but it wasn't a joke shrug. Because you looked at me like I was a person, he said. Not a weapon. Not a problem. A person. Deku swallowed hard. You are a person, he said. Deadpool's mask tilted, and for a second, it looked like the white eye shapes were softer. Yeah, Deadpool said quietly. I'm trying to remember that too. A wind gust moved across the field. In the distance, students laughed near the gym doors. Life continued. Deku looked down at the fake license card, then back at Deadpool. Will you stay? Deku asked. Deadpool stood up. I'll be around, he said. Deku asked, will you be okay? Deadpool paused. Then he answered honestly, in simple words. No, he said. Deku's chest tightened. Deadpool quickly lifted a finger. But, he added, I'll do the right thing anyway. Most days. Deku nodded slowly. That's what being a hero is, he said. Deadpool pointed at him. Stop saying wise things, he said. It makes me emotional. Deku almost smiled through the lump in his throat. You're already emotional, he said. Deadpool gasped like he'd been insulted. How dare you? Then Deadpool turned to leave. He took 2 steps, then looked back one last time. Hey Deku, Deadpool said. Deku blinked. Yes? Deadpool's voice dropped, quiet enough that it felt like a secret. If that voice ever comes back, Deadpool said, and I start wanting the cure, remind me why I said no. Deku nodded, firm. I will. Deadpool gave him a small salute. Then he walked away, light on his feet, heading toward the fence like it wasn't a barrier at all. From the rooftop above, Aizawa watched without being seen. He didn't move. He didn't wave. But he stayed there until the red suit disappeared into the city again. Somewhere far away, in a dark room filled with humming machines, All for One listened to new reports. Deadpool had refused. Again. All for One didn't rage. He didn't shout. He simply smiled, patient as time. Because the world didn't end when Deadpool arrived. It just changed, and now it would keep changing, one choice at a time.